At 2014 NBA Finals between Antonia and Miami, everyone is curious about an Asian player who seems to be dominating the match. A Miami player tries his best to run towards the basket, but Youngjae doesn't let him get through. Due to Youngjae's intelligent play, he gets another free throw for his team. An Asian player rarely seen in the NBA, he was the second Korean NBA player to gain attention, but his physical limitations were clear. Youngjae runs with the ball going through the left side of the court and does a really fast clean step-back jump shot to throw the ball toward the basket, but two players from the Miami team just rush straight at him, which causes his ankle to get hurt. The ball then goes to one of Youngjae's teammates, who manages to successfully throw the ball into the basket. Youngjae always dreams about being a starting player on the team, so he puts his entire body and all his effort into playing the game, and they finally end up winning the match against the other team. He feels like the happiest person in the whole world, and that is exactly why he wants to get back onto the basketball court as fast as he possibly can. 3 months go by after he recovers from the injury he got, but his ankle causes him pain again, so he tries wrapping up a little bit more to support it. One day, he is getting himself ready in his bedroom to practice and train for the game that is coming up soon, but then a woman walks into his room and tells him the news that he is not included on the player roster for the upcoming Washington Wizards game. Hearing that, Youngjae feels really sad, but the woman feels sorry for him because she thinks that the way he plays the game has gotten much worse ever since he got that injury on his ankle. Following that, Youngjae's entire playing career comes to an end right after winning the championship, and he becomes a player who does not have that competitive fighting spirit anymore. That night, Youngjae drinks way too much juice to the point where he cannot even walk straight or properly, and he keeps thinking about how unfair it is that this is the final result he gets for working so hard and living his life with so much effort. He then begins crying with tears running down his face while he is crossing the street, but suddenly, a big truck comes out of nowhere and crashes into him really hard and violently. While lying down on the ground, with his whole body completely covered in his own blood, he really does not want his life to end and die in this terrible way. Following that, Youngjae opens his eyes and wakes up in bed and wonders if the place he is in right now is a hospital room. He then looks all around the room and spots a calendar hanging on the wall that shows that the current date today is actually July 2009. He quickly figures out that this is the year when he starts going to college, and then after that, he walks over to the window and looks outside at the neighborhood where he lived his whole life until he finished high school. He also gets an acceptance letter from the university he always wanted to go to, and he also sees that he not only has his old room back, but his body is in perfect physical shape again too. Then he looks over at the wall and sees that it is still at the same height as he used to sleep when he was 18 years old, and he remembers how he tried really hard to grow taller than 190 centimeters, but in the end, he never gets to 190 centimeters, and people call him names like he has arms like a T-Rex dinosaur. Somehow, he manages to grow 3 more centimeters and barely avoids getting kicked off the team, but he can never beat the really strong physical abilities that the black and white players have, and this is another chance for him to try everything again. At the San Diego Public University, Youngjae is playing basketball with other players, and he completely surprises them with his insane moves. Another player asks Youngjae to pass the ball to him, but Youngjae thinks that the guy couldn't even receive a bounce pass in the pros. After that, Youngjae runs straight towards the basket and throws the ball, but he thinks that it's perfect for Tucker with his high jumping ability. Tucker then quickly jumps and throws the ball in the basket. Seeing that, San Diego's coach thinks that it was an amazing dunk, and he also recognizes Youngjae, wondering that he is 18 years old, graduated from Texas high school. He believes that his dribbling and finishing are good, but his shooting and physicality seem lacking. Following that, the coach brings everyone together and tells all the players that they are going to have a simple test to see what they can do. The coach from San Diego tells every single player that they should not let themselves get fooled by how well they did in their high school basketball records. However, because the NCAA is a place where only a very small handful of those players who were doing really well and flying high in high school actually get the chance to go and play. The coach then gives everyone different physical tests to complete, and they start with the court sprint first and then move on to the max vertical jump test and many various other different exercises after that. Youngjae feels like all the hard work and effort he has been putting into training is starting to pay off and help him make up for all the things he is not good at in just 2 weeks of time. Youngjae has been going to the gym that is located near his house like he is crazy and obsessed, and even though he does not have enough money to afford a personal trainer like all the other players do, he is still able to do all the exercises correctly because he already knows exactly how to work out and train his body properly. Thanks to all that, he was able to build the physicality he needed for the test. After that, the coach tells everyone that next is the inter-team practice game with the basic is one-on-one defense, and all they must do is show what they can do for the team. Some players talks about how if they don't stand out, they will be cut from the team and they won't let anyone steal the ball. Young Jae thinks that he also thought about that and that's why he only shot, even though he couldn't do it well. Young Jae then becomes aware that all of his teammates look serious and focused on their faces, but he makes the decision not to show or let them know that he is actually happy with the way the atmosphere feels right now. He then tells all of his teammates that if their combined strength and abilities together are not worse or inferior to the other team they are facing, they should definitely be able to get and catch their attention and interest. One of the guys on the team responds and says that it is actually a good idea to try to help everyone relax and calm down, but he points out that the other team has been playing together as starting players for many years now. He then explains and says that their own team is meeting each other for the very first time today and they have to somehow play together as one team, but Young Jae responds back and says that this is clearly a disadvantageous and unfavorable situation for all of them. Young Jae then asks all of them if they are really going to let this opportunity go to waste by only thinking about themselves and being selfish players, but the guy says that he is not selfish at all. He asks Young Jae directly if he really and truly means that there is actually a way for them to win this game. The basketball match then continues and one of the B team's players named Kelvin cannot believe or understand that they are actually losing the game against a bunch of hastily and quickly put freshman players together. On the other hand, one of the A team's players named Leonard also cannot believe or wrap his head around the fact that they are actually beating and winning against the starting members of the team. 5 minutes earlier, Young Jae told his entire team that he has a secret weapon and strategy that will definitely help them win this game, and then he just folds his arms together in front of his chest. The opposing starting players will not care about each one of them individually and they will not even know any of their names at all, and they definitely will not know what positions they play on the court, so because of this they will not be able to switch their defensive strategies during the game. Young Jae then explains to all of his teammates that they will set up a screen on the side of the basketball court where the ball is not currently located and then they will pass the ball directly to him. After that they should immediately run to whatever spot on the court where they feel the most confident playing their best basketball. Back to the present, Leonard successfully manages to throw the ball into the basket and scores some points for their team on the scoreboard. The ball then goes to Young Jae who starts running straight down the court, but when defensive players stop him, he immediately passes the ball over to Leonard instead. Right after that, Leonard just runs forward toward the basket, and when he gets blocked by other players trying to stop him, he quickly passes the ball right back to Young Jae without hesitating. Young Jae then quickly moves around and dodges a whole bunch of players who are trying to guard him and he throws the ball into the basket to score. It is finally the end of the second quarter of the game, and the starting team is currently losing and behind on the score. The starting team realizes that the A team has good control, and they thought they would just fall apart playing individually with the ball, but they are so organic, like they have been playing together. The third quarter starts with Young Jae running straight towards the basket after dodging some players of the B team. He then quickly passed the ball to Leonard at very last moment, who then managed to score. Seeing that, the coach thinks that this game is starting to take unexpected turns just now. The teamwork was impressive and it's like they are playing as if they know everything about the team's dynamics and abilities. Right after that, the basketball match continues with Team A shooting and scoring goals one after another over and over again, and the coach starts to realize and understand that Young Jae is definitely not playing at the level of just an ordinary or average college student player. On top of that, he also realizes that Young Jae is consistently creating chances and opportunities for his team while staying stable and calm under pressure, and if this is not happening just by chance or luck, then he must be something really special and different. Team B then decides to get serious and focused about the game, and they finally manage to show off some really insane and impressive teamwork by passing the ball back and forth to each other smoothly. But just as Leonard starts running forward with the ball in his hands, one of the other team's players blocks him really hard and aggressively. Because of this rough play, the manager makes the decision to eject and remove the opponent player from the game for playing way too aggressively and violently on the court. The ball then goes over to Young Jae who gets into his shooting position on the court, but he does not shoot the ball for quite a while, so everyone on his team and watching just starts shouting at him loudly to shoot the ball already. Young Jae finally makes the decision to shoot a three-pointer shot from far away that he was never able to successfully do before in the past. After that, everyone feels shocked when they see how Young Jae manages to take a shot from such a long distance. A player from Team B then tells Davis to finally show his real skills, and soon after that, Davis scores a point for his team. The match keeps going, and Young Jae gets the ball again and faces an opponent who remembers someone once saying that an Asian kid cannot shoot three-pointers. At the same time, Young Jae notices that the opposing team is using a sagging defense, which means they are leaving the three-point area open because they believe he is not a good shooter. Seeing this chance, Young Jae takes another 3-point shot, but when the ball hits the rim, an opponent grabs it and quickly throws it toward the basket, only for the ball to bounce out. The rebound goes to Thomas, who immediately passes it back to Young Jae, and Young Jae tries to take yet another 3-point shot. Watching this, the coach starts thinking that Young Jae has changed, because it now looks like he is forcing his shots instead of shooting with confidence. Surprisingly, the ball goes inside the basket, which makes the other team wonder why he is shooting 3-pointers when they were clearly got told that he doesn't. Davis thinks that he made 3 consecutive 3-pointers, and he don't know about that, but one thing is sure, they are getting completely played by Young Jae. On the other hand, one of Young Jae's teammates tells him directly that the game is going so much better and smoother when they pass the ball around to each other and really focus on playing their correct positions on the court. The other guy on the team then says with excitement that they might actually win this entire game within the next minute of play against the starting players of the team. However, Young Jae responds back and says that the other team is not going to let their guard down or relax anymore from this point forward, so their team has to put an end to this game right here and now. Right after that, the basketball match continues playing on, and one of the B team's players starts thinking to himself that everyone on the court except for Young Jae has moved and swarmed together to one side of the court, which means that this must be the isolation technique being used. Young Jae then starts moving around on the court with the ball in his control, and he does a really tricky and clever maneuver in which a player suddenly stops dribbling the ball and zigzags their feet back and forth quickly. Young Jae then successfully manages to score another point for his team on the scoreboard, and eventually, after all that effort, Young Jae's entire team wins the match against their opponents. The coach realizes that by having all the starting players focus their attention on defending Young Jae himself on the court, Young Jae was able to pull the attention of the entire defense toward him and create good chances for his teammates to score points. He himself also showed really great leadership skills by leading the hastily and quickly assembled team all the way to victory against the starters. That night, Young Jae does some basketball practice all by himself alone on the court, and he starts wondering to himself that in his previous life before everything changed, his career 3-point shooting percentage was only about 29% of the time, and even at his very best performance, it was only around 33%. Young Jae also notices that his body is even taller than it was before in his past life. So now he actually has the ability to do dunks and slam the ball into the basket. He then tries to practice doing a dunk shot by jumping up high and slamming the ball down, and he even succeeds at doing it on his first try, which makes him feel amazing about himself. After that, the instructor shows up at the court and tells Young Jae directly that it was the coolest and most impressive dunk he has ever seen from an Asian player in all his years. He also tells Young Jae some important news that the coach is currently looking for him, which really surprises Young Jae. A little later, Young Jae walks into the coach's office, and he is thinking to himself that he never once had a one-on-one private meeting with the coach throughout all of his college years in his previous life before everything changed. At that moment, the manager from before is sitting right in front of him, and she tells him that his performance in the last game was really impressive, but Young Jae says that it was just because he happened to be in really good physical condition that day. She then says to him that she knows exactly how much he has changed and improved as a player, but Young Jae starts wondering in his mind what she could possibly mean by saying that to him. The coach then arrives, and he tells Young Jae directly that he wants him to play the shooting guard position on the team. However, Young Jae gets completely stunned, and he wonders to himself if this is something that never actually happened in his previous life at all. The coach further explains that he knows that he played point guard since middle school, and they have D.J. Gay on their team. So, there are other players on the team who are better than him at other positions, but he saw his potential as a shooter in yesterday's game. The coach tells him that if he changes his position, then he will have more opportunities to play, and he thinks he can grow into an ace for the team. Young Jae then tells the coach that he is going to do this, and, on his way back home, he feels that it's like changing jobs from healer to DPS. Later that night, Young Jae, Leonard, and another guy study in their room when the guy is freaking out, saying it's enough for a basketball to be good at it, so why do he have to get good grades too? Young Jae then gets really angry and tells the other player to quit playing the game completely if he does not like it or want to put in the effort. On top of that, he also tells him very clearly that their school has a strict rule that does not allow any players with a grade point average below 2.0 to participate and play in games at all, and if he does not play basketball regularly, someone like him who only relies on his physical strength and abilities will be quickly forgotten by everyone around him. Young Jae then hands over and gives him a set of summarized notes that contain all the answers to help him study, and he says that it is not like he is giving these notes to him for his own sake or benefit, but instead he is doing this for the good of the entire team. The very next day after that conversation, Young Jae finally gets completely done with writing out his training routine, which is known and called the 666 routines, and it is a training method that was designed and created by the famous basketball player Kobe Bryant and his personal trainer Joe Carbone. The reason why it is called the 666 routine is because this training is done for a total of 6 hours every single day, 6 days out of the week, and it continues for 6 whole months during the basketball off-season when there are no games. Later during that same day, Young Jae arrives and gets to the baseball court where the San Diego women's basketball team is currently practicing and training for their upcoming match. Young Jae thinks to himself that he has about 50 minutes of free time left until his next class starts, so he makes the decision to practice shooting his three-pointer shots and work on improving his long-range shooting skills. Young Jae then begins his practice that even surprises the girls, but once he takes a break, the girls approach him, asking if they should help him out. Afterwards, Young Jae plays with the girls, and they act as the guards, but Young Jae thinks that in an actual game, the guards will be stronger than this. He further realizes that he has been training wrong all along and tells the girl goodbye. Later, the team gathers in the court where the coach explains today's practice game. He tells them that this game is a preparation game for the March Madness in March, and they will determine the main lineup based on the content of this game. The practice match then begins to start on the basketball court, and the coach starts wondering to himself that the team has raised and improved the level of skill refinement to some extent by now, and now that they are finally at this level of play, they are starting to see and figure out what the lineup should look like. For the guard positions, there are DJ, who was already the starter on the team, and Young Jae, who is completely new to the starting lineup, and Jace, who is a freshman player, and Davis, who is also a starter. For the forward positions, it would definitely have to be Leonard, who had really good chemistry and connection with Young Jae during their time playing together. Then after that, there are some other players who are also part of the team, and this is exactly how the lineup for the upcoming March Madness tournament should go according to what the coach is thinking. However, the coach also realizes that with this current lineup it is actually impossible for them to win the championship title, and they would not even be able to advance very far into the tournament at all, so they definitely need something drastic to change things around. Right after this, the coach makes a really big change to the entire team as he mixes up and switches around the positions that all the different players are playing on the court, and DJ, who has always focused on playing a fixed and unchanging play style, suddenly starts to feel a sense of excitement running through him for the first time. During the practice match that is happening, DJ performs really well, and it even surprises the coach's assistant, who is watching everything, and he tells the coach directly that DJ is getting back into his old form and playing like he used to. On the other hand, DJ is thinking to himself that they need to structure and organize the game in a way that they can score points more consistently and reliably throughout the match. The other team's players try their absolute best to block and stop DJ from scoring, but he does not give up or quit trying either, no matter what. Teaming up and playing together with the rookie players reminds DJ of all the fun and enjoyment he had playing basketball when he was younger, and it brings back the joy and happiness of being able to play basketball anywhere he wanted without any pressure. DJ then runs straight through a whole bunch of players who are trying to stop and guard him, and everyone who is watching and playing on the court felt that there is definitely some kind of change and transformation happening in DJ right now at this moment. DJ then successfully manages to throw the ball into the basket and score points for his team, but one of the other team's players starts wondering to himself if it is really that fun and enjoyable playing with the rookie players that DJ is jumping around like he is crazy and full of energy. Young Jae also realizes and understands why the coach sent him here to play in this practice match. And this is exactly where he is supposed to figure out how the flow and rhythm of the game works during real gameplay. Finally, the main matchup of the entire game is about to begin, with Leonard and Young Jae going directly against each other on the basketball court. Young Jae has always been a bench warmer player who sits on the sidelines even during his time in college, but Leonard has stood out and been really noticeable since his sophomore year of college, playing as a starter on the team the whole time. Young Jae then runs past Leonard trying to get ahead and move forward on the court, but Leonard manages to get the ball out of Young Jae's hands and takes it away from him successfully, and the manager, who is watching the play, considers it a no-foul situation and does not call anything or blow the whistle. Young Jae thinks to himself in his mind that he will not be able to break through Leonard's strong defense with dribbling moves that rely solely on his speed alone and nothing else, so he has to do something different and creative and find another way to get past him. DJ then passes the ball back to Young Jae so he can try attacking again with a new approach, but Leonard is still standing right in front of him in a defensive position, trying his absolute best to block and stop him from getting to the basket. Young Jae thinks that the nickname that was given to Leonard is called the hands because of his hands that are twice the size of an average person's hands, and those huge hands of his put immense pressure and stress on the offensive player who is trying to score. Young Jae then tries shaking up Leonard's defensive stance by giving him a shimmy move first to fake him out, and then he changes the pivot foot he is using and immediately does a crossover dribble move right after that. After that, Young Jae tries to shoot the ball in the basket, but Leonard manages to block. Young Jae then wonders how he is going to break through because of Leonard's overwhelming physicality and no-frills movement. There is no room to squeeze in. DJ then approaches Young Jae and tells him that a head-on breakthrough is not a good idea, so he should use his strengths instead. DJ then tells his opinion that the only thing he can beat Leonard in is speed. DJ explains that a head-on breakthrough is not always the way to go, whether it's offense or defense. DJ also tells Young Jae that they are on the same team now, but if he is not satisfied with being on the second team, then he should come up to their class. After that, the match begins with Leonard having the ball, and he quickly pushes Young Jae badly and throws the ball in the basket. Leonard then helps out Young Jae and says that he shouldn't feel bad because they are in the same team. Seeing that, the coach's assistant says out loud that Leonard is already showing his power and dominance on the court, but Young Jae is even more unstable and shaky on defense, and it could be the limit of Asian players in general. However, the coach responds back and says that if someone cannot overcome the size and technique difference between them and their opponent, then no matter how hard they try and work, it is completely useless and pointless. Leonard then throws the ball into the basket and scores, despite Thomas trying his absolute best to stop it from going in. The manager quickly announces that the basket counts and the points are good, so the assistant turns to the coach and asks him if Young Jae will be cut and removed from the roster this time around. On the other hand, Young Jae's older self from his previous life tells him that he is not going to defeat Leonard like this and waste his second chance at success, so he has to humble himself, and only then will he find his own answer to the problem. Afterward, Young Jae gets the ball in his hands, and he runs straight towards the basket at full speed, leaving Leonard behind him in the process. Leonard thinks to himself that Young Jae's speed is incredible and amazing right now, but he is being too straightforward and predictable with his movements. He then tries to steal the ball away from Young Jae, but Young Jae uses the hesitation technique that makes him stop momentarily to dodge and avoid the opponent trying to steal. Young Jae then runs towards the basket with determination, trying to show everyone watching why he is really called by the nickname Y13 on the court. He then jumps up high into the air and tries to score points, but one of the opponent team's players blocks his shot attempt, but DJ realizes and understands that Young Jae has finally understood how the game works and flows naturally. The opponent team then makes the decision to let Leonard handle the offense and take control of scoring, but they are shocked and surprised to see that Young Jae is showing impressive defense by blocking Leonard completely. The opponent team's player then passes the ball over to Leonard, who tries to catch it in his hands, but Young Jae intercepts and steals the pass before it reaches him. He then steals the ball completely and runs past everyone before scoring another goal for the team. Seeing that, everyone's shocked and can't believe how an Asian kid managed to score a goal like that. The coach says that Young Jae is a mysterious guy, as if he's like a character in a game. After that, Young Jae receives a kick-out pass from DJ and made a comeback with 3 consecutive three-pointers. However, Leonard's concise mid-range jumper chased them to the bottom of their chin, but Thomas's solid defense kept the narrow lead intact. After the match, the coach tells everyone on the team that he could feel how much they value winning after today's game and all the effort they put in, and he could really feel their passion and love for basketball as a fellow basketball player himself. However, Young Jae starts wondering to himself that he could have practiced more than all the other players around him, but he only practiced harder than he did in his previous life, and the guy next to him acknowledged and admitted that he was good at playing basketball. He continues that he was reborn and given a second chance in life, but he has not improved at all in any meaningful way, and even at the end of the game, he could not stop Leonard at all from scoring. The coach then tells everyone in the room that there will be no training sessions for the next 2 weeks coming up, so they should take a break and rest instead of doing individual training on their own. Hearing that, the manager quickly gets happy about having some free time off, but the coach makes it clear and says that the coaching staff and managers still plan to focus on figuring out the roster and lineup, and the strategy meeting sessions will continue to work and happen as usual without any break. The coach then says to everyone that this break is also meant to prepare them for the NCAA Conference regular season opener game that is happening in January next year, and there are only 2 weeks left until that important game arrives, so they should get plenty of rest and recovery time. After the coach leaves the room and walks out, everyone in the team gets really excited and happy, and they start asking each other if they have any other plans or things they want to do during the break. Young Jae tells all of them that he was just going to relax and take it easy, except for doing some individual training in his own time. Outside the building, Leonard and another guy leave Young Jae behind as they have some errands and tasks to take care of. So, Young Jae decides to go to a nearby mall to buy new basketball shoes, but there He runs into a girl. The girl then shows him a few different shoes and starts with the Hera sneakers, which are really famous and well known for their red logo design on the ankle wrap area. The second one she shows him is the Kyo Garnet Signature Pro Model Series shoes, and they are said to be lightweight and easy to move in, but the ankle grip is loose and not very tight. And the last one she shows is the Li-Ning Rise shoes, which are known for being lightweight and having shock-absorbing technology built into them. The girl then tells Youngjae to try all of them at once if he is having trouble deciding and picking which one he wants. 2 hours later, after trying on many different shoes, Youngjae finally manages to choose a shoe for himself that he likes, and he thanks her for letting him try them all on and being so patient. The girl then asks him if he is a basketball player who plays regularly, but Youngjae realizes in his mind that this is a different question from what happened in his previous life before. Finally, it is the match day for the San Diego team to play their game, and the coach tells the entire team to be relaxed and show the same performance and skill level they showed during their training sessions. The coach then reminds Youngjae that he will be starting today as a guard with DJ, and at first, he will make it look like he is an ordinary shooting guard and focus on scoring, and his off-ball movement is also important to break down the opponent's defense, so he wants him to be active. Moreover, the coach thinks to himself that UC San Diego runs a 3-guard system on their team, and their strengths are early offense plays and penetration into the paint, but they also have German Bap and Rising, who is growing and improving beyond all expectations right now. Today's game is a non-conference matchup between San Diego University and UC San Diego, and these games are not part of the regular season schedule at all. The commentators say out loud that San Diego University is proud of its incredible defensive tactics and strategies under the leadership of Coach Steve Fisher and his coaching style. They also wonder out loud if the role of the rookie players will be important and make a difference in today's game, but then after that, they start talking about all the different players who are in Coach Steve Fisher's team and their individual abilities and skills. They also talk about Youngjae, who is said to have played as a starting guard position in high school, but his physical condition and body were not very good at that time. They say that he showed potential and promise as a point guard with a high basketball IQ and understanding of the game, but his shooting skills were just average and nothing special, and today he will start playing with DJ as a starter, beating out all the upperclassmen who have been on the team longer. The match then begins with Brian winning the jump ball at the beginning to start things off for his team. DJ then receives the pass from his teammate, with Casey Ryan following right on his heels and chasing him closely. DJ wonders to himself that against this man-to-man defense strategy, the other team is implementing those practiced defensive tactics seamlessly and without any mistakes. DJ then runs with the ball towards the goal net, but as soon as he gets blocked, he quickly passes the ball to Youngjae, who then throws it at the basket and gets a 3-point shot. Seeing that, everyone starts cheering for Youngjae and can't believe how a rookie could do this. One of the players looks at Youngjae and says that his earlier shot is probably just beginner's luck, so he does not think Youngjae is worth paying attention to right now. Instead, he focuses on Jae-Wei, who is famous for his skill and is a longtime core member of the team with lots of experience. One of the opposing players tries to break through the defense. Jae-Wei is responsible for stopping him and has a hard time holding him back from moving forward. The player mocks Jae-Wei, calling him short and telling him to rest because he looks tired. Because he focuses too much on Jae-Wei, the player does not notice Youngjae sneaking up behind him, and Youngjae quickly steals the ball from his hands. Youngjae dribbles the ball forward and smoothly gets past several defenders using clean movements. Near the basket, Leonard signals that he wants the ball, and Youngjae instantly notices him and sends a perfect high pass through the air. Leonard catches the ball without any trouble, jumps up and slams the ball into the basket with a powerful dunk. After seeing this, all the opposing players feel shocked and start to look nervous, and the player who used to look down on Youngjae now begins to question his own thoughts, wondering why Youngjae is not more well known among the rookies, even though his skills are clearly impressive and his pass to Leonard is extremely accurate. Youngjae and Leonard then look at each other and exchange a thumb up, showing that they are satisfied and confident about their teamwork. As the game continues, Youngjae calms himself and gets ready for the next play, and from this moment on, he decides that he will put more of his focus into playing strong defense. The opposing players feel heavy pressure from Youngjae's defense. Even though Youngjae is smaller, his great stamina and speed make it very hard for them to get past him. Coach Steve feels very impressed watching. He does not expect Youngjae to defend the team so well while closely guarding the attackers. Youngjae quietly thinks that a basketball player who can only attack is useless. To him, basketball is not only about scoring points. The ability to guard opponents and defend is a powerful combination. After his regression, Youngjae realizes this and trains his defense very hard. Now the results of that training clearly show on the court. The opponents keep attacking, but Youngjae keeps blocking them. One player dribbles left and right but cannot find any opening, which makes him frustrated. As the first quarter is about to end, he is forced to shoot, hoping the ball will go in. Once again, Young Jae blocks the attempt but Young Jae slaps the ball away, and Jae-wei catches it in front of him. Jae-wei then dribbles quickly down the court and scores. Everyone cheers, especially for Young Jae, because of his great defense and his excellent assists, which put huge pressure on the opposing team, and the California players become overwhelmed by San Diego's solid teamwork. After a break, Young Jae gets replaced by another player to rest, and one round of the match lasts 20 minutes, making the total game time much longer than NBA games, which have 12-minute quarters. Because of this longer time, the players must manage their stamina carefully. While resting on the bench, all the players look at Young Jae with respect. Thanks to his help, the game runs very smoothly for the team, and he not only stops the opponent's movements but also scores points with difficult shots. Still, Young Jae is not fully happy with how he plays, as he feels he has many weaknesses, especially because he still allows opponents to get into shooting positions, even though he blocks their shots in the end. Coach Steve also watches Young Jae with happiness from the sideline, and he notes that in just 7 minutes, Young Jae makes 3 assists, 1 steal, and several blocks. Steve feels that Young Jae's abilities improve very quickly. However, he also notices that Young Jae chooses to play more carefully, maybe because he has a plan that he has not shown yet. One thing that makes Young Jae happy is knowing that his shooting skill improves a lot compared to his previous life. His long-range and mid-range shots are smooth and accurate. His balance and reaction speed also improved a lot. At first he worries that his shooting in practice might be different in real matches, but he feels glad to see that his performance stays the same in both. This makes Young Jae feel even more motivated and boosts his confidence. He laughs happily, encourages his team, and says they will definitely go home with a win today. Seeing Young Jae's actions, everyone cheers and becomes more excited to win the match. Leonard looks at Young Jae and says that today's match will be very interesting. The game starts again with Davis getting the ball but struggles to break through the defense. Davis pretends to shoot, and when the defender reacts, Kelvin stops the shot and drives past the opponent. He stops at the three-point line and takes a shot, but no defender is close because his teammates block the opponents away. As Davis releases the ball, he says that based on his 3 years of experience, he is very sure the shot will go in, but the ball only hits the rim and bounces off. Kelvin looks shocked that his 3 years of experience betray him, but the rebounding ball is immediately caught by Quell, who jumps up with a great leap. G excitedly shouts that Kelvin's missed shot is actually a clever setup for Quell to grab the rebound, as if it is part of their strategy, even though Kelvin never plans that at all. Leonard, as usual, does not show too much excitement, but he still gives full support to the team after his earlier dunk. Quell celebrates by raising both hands and flexing his muscles proudly after scoring. Young Jae and G shout from behind the bench, with G calling Quell the mighty gorilla as a joke. Hearing that nickname, Quell immediately stops celebrating and looks annoyed at them. He clearly does not like being called that name. Coach Steve quietly watches Young Jae, who is celebrating joyfully with his teammates. In Steve's eyes, Young Jae has the potential to become the team's captain someday. He understands each player's abilities well and strengthens the team's coordination on the court. Steve strongly wants to make him the leader, even though Young Jae is still new to the team, and Steve feels that Young Jae would probably refuse such an offer if he asks. Through this match, Steve sees Young Jae's leadership qualities clearly. Young Jae organizes the team well, but he relies too much on teamwork instead of sharpening his own offense and defense skills. Steve believes Young Jae can greatly improve his shooting technique, defensive reflexes, and overall performance if he focuses more on himself. However, he also feels that Young Jae plays too cautiously, focusing only on quick passes, body screening, and assisting others. That is why Steve lets him play for only 7 minutes before deciding to rest him on the bench. Steve wants to make sure Young Jae's stamina does not drain too early in the game. The match continued, and soon only 6 minutes remained in the first half of play. Young Jae's team returns to the court as the clock shows 6 minutes left before halftime. The crowd begins to cheer loudly, eagerly waiting to see what surprise Young Jae will show this time. Coach Steve tells Young Jae to play as a front attacker to catch the opponents off guard with a new position. Young Jae feels extremely excited and ready to use all his abilities on offense. This is an opportunity he never has before, not even in his previous life before regression. As Young Jae strikes a cool pose on the court, the audience cheers wildly for him. Many women in the crowd become especially excited after seeing his impressive presence and looks. When the game resumes, an opposing player tries to stop Young Jae, who is carrying the ball forward. The player's name is Andrew from the California team. He is someone with zero dating experience who gets jealous easily. Andrew glares at Young Jae with resentment because Young Jae steals all the attention from the women with his intense aura and good looks. Andrew swears to stop Young Jae at any cost, even if it means risking everything he has. As Young Jae dribbles forward toward the basket, he feels heavy pressure and thinks to himself, wondering where this man's strength comes from suddenly. Andrew does not look like a core player on the team, so Young Jae questions where this killing aura comes from in his defense. From the sideline, Coach Steve watches their duel unfold. He says that although Andrew is not a core player, he looks like a true forward with his build. Andrew is taller than Young Jae and has a stronger body overall. Facing him with pure strength would be difficult for most players. Unfortunately for Andrew, he is up against Young Jae, whose specialty is speed and high-level dribbling skills. Young Jae stares sharply at Andrew, breaking his intimidation attempt. Seeing Young Jae's terrifying gaze back at him, Andrew starts to feel nervous about defending. Young Jae then smiles and calmly says that the court now looks clearer and better to him. In an instant, Young Jae dribbles past Andrew with a quick crossover. Andrew cannot react at all because Young Jae's movement is too fast for him to follow. Shocked at being beaten, Andrew shouts for his teammates to stop Young Jae as he rushes forward toward the basket. Another opponent steps in to block Young Jae's path and claims that Young Jae will not get past him this time. However, with elegant dribbling moves, Young Jae slips past him without much effort. A larger player named Justin steps up next, using his big size to block Young Jae's advance. Young Jae dribbles quickly left and right to confuse him with fakes. With enough space created, Young Jae immediately attempts a shot at the basket. Justin rushes back on defense and tries to stop him from scoring. All eyes in the arena focus on Young Jae as he goes up. Justin jumps high, believing his height and size will be enough to block it, but his hope disappears when Young Jae performs a fadeaway shot, leaning his body slightly backward before releasing the ball. Justin never expects that move and becomes completely caught off guard by the technique. The result is a clean and smooth basket that goes straight through the net. The crowd erupts in loud cheers throughout the arena. Once again, they saw Young Jae's incredible performance on the court. Unlike before when Young Jae always passes the ball to teammates, this time he takes control himself, creates his own play, and scores by himself without help. This makes the audience admire him even more than before. He not only has strong teamwork but also excellent game-making ability and control over the flow of the match. From one of the spectator seats high up, a mysterious woman watches Young Jae, but she turns out to be the owner of the shop where Young Jae buys his basketball shoes recently. The National Collegiate Athletic Association is an American organization that focuses more on developing individual skills rather than structured team cooperation among players. There is a strong belief that this organization is a stage for players who want to become professionals in basketball. Many outstanding players only play for their university teams for 1 year before being drafted into the NBA as professionals. Some players are even selected directly to compete in overseas leagues before they graduate from high school. Young Jae plays as a point guard on his team. He is known for his passing and dribbling ability on the court. According to Steve, Young Jae was once considered a player with little potential because of his small body and weak defense skills. However, he becomes a key player who greatly influences the San Diego team's performance, and his former weaknesses seem to fade away, as if he is reborn as an excellent basketball player with new skills. As the game continues, Young Jae completely dominates the match on his own against California. The opposing players struggle badly and say that Young Jae is not normal as a player. Not only is his offensive ability outstanding, but his defense is also extremely strong against attacks. On top of that, his ability to disappear on the court is very troublesome for opponents. He suddenly appears from nowhere and steals the ball from them. Every corner of the court seems to be under his control during plays. Despite all these strengths, the opposing team does not realize that Young Jae's greatest weapon is actually his teamwork with others. He can move the entire team according to his will, creating chances and scoring opportunities without the opponents even noticing what happens. In the final seconds of the game, Young Jae throws a high pass to JJ through the air. JJ responds with a great jump and finishes the play, ending the match with a score. Once again everyone cheers and calls Young Jae a genius player on a completely different level from others. That is how the game ends between the two teams. News about Young Jae spreads rapidly everywhere, calling him a Korean superguard who scores 25 points in one game. When Young Jae sees the news online, he feels extremely happy about the recognition. He believes that he is finally becoming a famous basketball player like he always wants. At present, Young Jae is visiting the city in Los Angeles. He feels very excited and says that he will do something amazing here during his trip. It turns out that he comes to watch an NBA basketball game in person. Many fans eagerly waited for the match to start, including Young Jae himself sitting among them. The opening event begins in a grand way with lights and music. Many beautiful women dance at the center of the court, making the atmosphere lively, especially for the men who clearly enjoy watching it. Several singers are also invited to increase their excitement before the game. Young Jae sits calmly in his seat, unable to hide his anticipation for what comes next. Soon the game finally begins on the court. The teams playing are the Lakers versus New Jersey in tonight's match. Young Jae feels very excited and says that this match is still deeply engraved in his memory from before. New Jersey is led by a coach named Frank who tries his best. However, because they lost today's game, they still failed to win a single match since the league starts this season. After leading New Jersey to their 17th consecutive loss, Frank is eventually fired from his position. From the Lakers' point of view, today's game is just routine for them. They often play back-to-back games during the season. The problem for New Jersey is that the Lakers field their best players today, marking the beginning of New Jersey's collapse as a team. The Lakers are so strong that even the other 29 NBA teams silently support them today. Everyone expects the Lakers to completely crush New Jersey in a way nobody can imagine. From his seat, Young Jae wonders whether the game will end exactly as he remembers from his past life. Besides learning from this match, he wants to confirm whether everything he knows from his previous life still follows the same path in this timeline. He wants to know what he can change and what he cannot change in his current life after regression. The New Jersey team enters the court for warm-ups. They are the challengers today against the favorites. Seeing their lineup, Young Jae feels nervous and says that all of them are incredible players, on a completely different level compared to NCAA players he faces. When the game starts, Aaron Bynum from the Lakers gets the ball first at tip-off. He quickly passes it to Gasol in front of him near the basket. Gasol secures the ball smoothly and immediately dribbles past the defender with speed and skill. Seeing this play, Young Jae becomes excited and says that Gasol's movement is extremely fast for his size. In no time, Gasol reaches the opponent's basket and takes a shot at the rim. It is a perfect shot that lands cleanly through the net, opening the first score for his team. From above in the stands, Young Jae becomes even more excited, not only because of Gasol's performance, but because he is eagerly waiting to see the performance of Kobe Bryant, whom Young Jae calls by name with respect. Moments later, the New Jersey players are truly destroyed and they feel frustrated. Their stamina is completely drained by Kobe as Kobe's game is so extraordinary that not a single one of them can stop him. So far, Kobe has scored 24 points in the first half. He is nicknamed the Destroyer Weapon because of his merciless shooting. When he enters the zone, which is marked by his eyes starting to emit a red aura, his abilities increase many times over. No one can stop him when he is in the zone. His speed is truly incredible. He makes a spectacular jump and successfully puts the ball in. The New Jersey players can't stop him at all. Young Jae, who watches his action, is completely amazed as that person's level is too high. Young Jae hears news that Kobe is currently experiencing heavy stress because he keeps being compared to a player named Jordan. However, just by watching this game alone, Young Jae feels Kobe is far beyond his reach. Young Jae himself is not sure if he can play as well as Kobe, who is now in the NBA. Kobe attacks again. The opposing player guarding him feels very frustrated and even asks Kobe to end all this quickly. Kobe answers that players request by directly taking a shot, even though the distance is very far. The player guarding him is shocked and confused, but Kobe's shot goes in perfectly. With that shot, the Lakers team now has 61 points while New Jersey only has 29 points. Everyone cheers and is shocked at the same time, including the announcer who watches this extraordinary game where Kobe becomes the center of attention. All 5 New Jersey players just want this game to end quickly so they can go home because they can no longer endure this humiliation. They are truly destroyed without being able to do anything. Kobe has been in the zone since the beginning. When he gets the ball once again, his long-range shot goes in perfectly. In basketball, Kobe never does anything half-heartedly. He faces each opponent seriously. According to Young Jae, what's terrifying about the Lakers team is not just because they have Kobe, but almost all their players truly have incredible abilities. The game finally closes with a decisive victory for the Lakers team. Young Jae walks out of the stadium and reflects a little. He says that the result of this game is still the same as what he remembers. Young Jae concludes that as long as he doesn't interfere directly, the past that he knows won't change. Through today's game, he also reflects more, seeing the NBA players who are so extraordinary from a spectator's perspective. He truly has a burning desire to stand on that court, even if just for a moment. While Young Jae is reflecting, he is suddenly startled by someone's voice calling his name. When he turns back, it turns out the voice comes from a boy full of enthusiasm. The boy calls Young Jae's name with full admiration. Young Jae smiles and asks how the boy knows him, because as far as he remembers, only friends from his school and university know him. The boy answers that his father and mother are fans of the San Diego basketball team and also graduates from there. With full enthusiasm, the boy says that he wants to become a great basketball player like Young Jae and join the San Diego team. Before the March Madness, they had to go through a grueling marathon-like schedule to get here. He thinks that it's so hard to focus on his studies while also trying to keep up with the competition schedule, but still he is in good shape with a 9-2 record, so he feel good. Later, the doctor tells Young Jae that he seems to be accumulating fatigue, but it's not at a serious level as basketball is a sport that puts a lot of strain on the joints. The doctor explains and says that the rougher, faster, and more active a sport is, like basketball, the more vulnerable and exposed it becomes to injuries like ankle sprains and knee sprains that can happen during play. The doctor continues by saying that there are a few possible causes for these types of injuries, but the most likely one in this case is the way that Young Jae lands on his feet after jumping, specifically how his heels and toes contact the ground. In particular, the doctor points out that the Achilles tendon runs all the way from the heel up to the calf bone, through the calf muscle, to the knee, and then all the way to the hip area, so any impact or force on the entire lower body goes through this connection, so it is no different from taking a shock and absorbing impact to the entire lower body all at once. The doctor then tells Young Jae that according to the data and information that Young Jae sent to him earlier, there was not a single instance or moment of a severe impact or a wrong landing that would have caused a significant impact on his entire lower body during his games. Young Jae thinks that with the doctor's explanation, Young Jae was able to clearly understand his problem and he tended to wobble on landings or stay on his toes just before shooting. Just then, Leonard then arrives at Young Jae's room and gives him a gift that he received of fan gifts. Young Jae then reads a letter from David who says that he is going to watch his Aztecs game today and he actually wanted to give it to him in person. David also tells Young Jae to make it to the NBA and surprise his busy cousin. The next day, it's San Diego's and Pomona Pitzer as it's a non-conference game between the San Diego State Aztecs and the Pomona Pitzer. After that, the player from both teams enters the court including Billy White. Seeing that, coach of San Diego thinks that Billy used to be a player who showed decent scoring ability but not much talent in rebounding or defensive help. DJ then enters the court and walks out onto the floor and the commentators start saying that this season, DJ has once again won the hearts of all the fans with his significantly reduced turnovers and his stable ball handling and distribution skills, but then DJ responds to the fans by doing his signature bizarre dance moves that everyone recognizes. Now it is Young Jae's turn to enter the stadium and make his appearance, and once he steps out onto the court, the crowd starts cheering loudly for him and everyone in the arena thinks that Young Jae is the perfect man wherever he goes and whatever he does. Young Jae thinks to himself that there is something special about the pure passion and energy of NCAA basketball that is different and separate from the NBA, and it makes his heart swell up with emotion from deep within his chest. Young Jae then turns to DJ and tells him that he wants to go all the way to the championship with these people and this team, whether he ends up becoming a hero in the story or a villain in the eyes of others. At the same time, a father and his child are walking together towards the stadium to watch the game, but the father gets shocked when he sees that there are more than 5,000 people already present in the stands. The commentator starts thinking out loud that compared to last year's attendance numbers, this game has more than 1,000 additional people showing up, and it is not an exaggeration at all to say that the Aztecs' momentum and popularity is truly powerful right now. The match then begins with the ball starting in Pomona Pitzer's hands and the players on their team keep passing the ball back and forth to each other looking for an opening. Watching this, Young Jae then notices something important and realizes that the side steps did not move properly due to the shot release timing, so the player had to keep the movement short and quick. The Pomona player then tries to do a fake breakthrough move to confuse the defenders, and then he shoots the ball towards the basket but the ball bounces off the rim and rebounds back, so another player from the same team just grabs and steals the ball to keep possession. The guy from Pomona then tries to push through the defense with his physical strength and then he shoots the ball again towards the basket but it rebounds off the rim once more without going in. Even though San Diego Aztec is traditionally a strong defense team, but this year, with the outstanding rookie Young Jae joining, San Diego Aztecs has transformed. The ball then gets to Young Jae who then tries to dodge the other team's player, and it is said that San Diego's dense offense has become smoother ever since Young Jae arrived. The fact that after Young Jae enrolled, the academic performance of the current students has greatly improved compared to last year. After that, Young Jae quickly passed the ball to DJ and turns out DJ was considered unstable, with an average of almost 3 turnovers per game, but this season, DJ's stats show only 1.4 turnovers. On the other hand, a commentator asks another if it's hard to attribute that solely to Youngji's influence, but the other guy says that what's even more impressive is what comes next. The guy adds that bench players Davis, Tyren and starters like Billy White, Brian Cowell and Thomas, these players are currently juniors and seniors. He says that their field goal success rate has increased from as little as 3% to as much as 7% compared to last season. However, if they look closely at the field goal success rates, whenever they are above average, Young Jae is always on the court. The ball then gets passed to Young Jae and the commentator starts thinking that with Youngji's diverse skill set and incredible speed, he does not think there is a single player in this conference who can stop Young Jae alone in a one-on-one situation. Young Jae then quickly runs past some players from the opposing team and throws the ball up towards the basket, but the ball bounces off the rim and gets rebounded by another player from the opposite team. The opposing player then decides to pass the ball quickly to his teammate to start their offensive play, but Young Jae manages to read the pass and intercept the ball before it reaches its target. Watching that, the coach starts thinking to himself that in a one-on-one situation on the court, Young Jae never falls for the opponent's fake moves or tricks and he always moves with precision, as if he already knows what the next move will be before it happens. After that, Young Jae manages to score another goal for his team by making a quick drive to the basket, and this score surprises everyone in the arena and they all start cheering loudly for him. On the other hand, another guy sitting in the stands is shocked and starts wondering out loud what is happening with Young Jae right now, because he is destroying the opponent team single-handedly all by himself. The ball then gets passed to the opponent team's player, who is also shocked by what he is witnessing on the court, but then he tries to break through the defense, and with the help of a screen from his teammate, another opponent player manages to steal the ball and runs away quickly, thinking to himself that there could be many reasons why they are losing so badly, but the biggest one is definitely Young Jae. The guy then decides to pass the ball quickly to his teammate to try to advance their offense, but Young Jae suddenly appears right in front of him out of nowhere and steals the ball away before the pass can be completed. After stealing the ball successfully, Young Jae jumps high into the air to throw the ball into the basket, but just as he is about to throw it and release his shot, he quickly passes the ball back to DJ instead of shooting it himself. He then quickly throws the ball to Leonard, who does a one-handed dunk. Youngji's one-on-one isolation by the opposing team is so good that no matter what moves the opposing team player does, like step-back jumper after the backstep and others, Young Jae never allows a single clean shot. At this point, Young Jae is a complete nightmare to the Pomona team, and they have absolutely no idea what to do to stop him from scoring. The commentator says out loud that San Diego's offense is really fierce and aggressive right now, and Youngji's synergy and teamwork with DJ is absolutely incredible to watch. Young Jae then moves around the court again while DJ sets up a screen for him, so Young Jae can easily break through and get to the three-point line without much resistance. The other team's players named Reese and Justin both try to mark him and guard him closely, but it already looks quite tough and difficult for them to keep up with his movements, but they do not give up at all and give their all to try to lock down and prevent Youngji's three-pointer shot. Young Jae does not hesitate for even a second and breaks through both players using his incredible footwork and dribbling skills to get past them. The other team's coach then turns to the referee and asks him if that move was traveling and should be called a violation, but the referee responds clearly by saying that it was not traveling at all. Young Jae then passes the ball back to DJ, who then shoots a clean three-pointer shot. There are about 10 minutes left and Young Jae has already 23 points, and then, the crowd starts calling him the MVP of the match. Now, with a 40-point victory, San Diego Public University's Aztecs continue their winning streak. A reporter from CBS Sports decided to interview Young Jae, and he tells him that his performance today was outstanding, as usual, but his playing time is less compared to other aces. He then asks him if he also have a low ratio of individual plays or does he have any thoughts on that. Young Jae replies that basketball is a team sport and he is a member of the team. He thinks he is getting enough playing time, even if it's a little less. Young Jae further says that as long as the team can win, he is satisfied, and the reason he make fewer individuals play is that he know it leads to higher probability attacks. The reporter then asks him if there is a reason why he wears number 13. Young Jae initially had some dissatisfaction with number 13, as in Western culture, the number 13 is often seen negatively, but as Young Jae played more games, he began to develop an attachment to the number 13. He also tells the reporter that one of his role models, Steve Nash, wore number 13 to overcome his unlucky reputation and to strengthen his resolve. So, he thinks that by showing opponent the number 13, it's like saying, he is their worst nightmare. Moreover, he tells them that his last name is Yoon, which starts with Y, so just like Chris Paul is called CP3, he realized he could be Y13. Later that day, Young Jae gets his shoes and decides to get them repaired, so he visits a nearby shop. The woman working there tells him that Yun is on vacation today. She is the same redhead girl who works here. The next day, Young Jae visits the shop again where he finds Yun and gives her his shoes, saying they are in bad shape. Young Jae wonders if the kid he signed for was David, Yun's relative, and Yun does a lot with shoes and is great at shoe repairs. Young Jae then asks her about the fixing cost, so she tells him that it would be just replace the functional materials and they will cost about a third of the product price. The girl then asks Young Jae if he can do 2 favors for her, and she explains that this time for the first game of March Madness tournament, he should win that game for her. After saying that, she tells him about the second favor that she needs, which Young Jae finds a bit weird and strange when he hears it. The next day at practice, the coach tells the entire team about the Aztec seed position that has been announced officially, and he says that March Madness involves a total of 68 colleges from all across the nationwide area, competing against each other in a national tournament. The coach then reveals to everyone that they are the 12th seed in the tournament and they will be facing the 5th seed team, which is Maryland, in the first round of the competition. Hearing that, Young Jae gets surprised and shocked because in his previous life before everything changed, the Aztecs were the 11th seed instead, and they faced Tennessee in the first round, so the current reality and timeline is slightly different from what he knew. The coach also reveals to the team that Maryland is the champion of the top-tier ACC conference and he warns them that they need to be especially careful of the senior players on that team. The next day, it is finally the day of the match, and a kid named David is excited and eager to watch Young Jae play in the tournament, and he is also surprised to see just how many people there are filling up the entire stadium. David thinks that Young Jae is incredible to receive this much attention already from fans and scouts, and it is rare to see an Asian player getting this kind of recognition and popularity before. Earlier before the game started, the coach told the entire team that Maryland is also the proud champions of the Mountain West Conference, just like the Aztecs are. The coach also says that Maryland has only one center player like Jordan Williams on their roster, who is a freshman standing at 6 feet and 10 inches tall. Moreover, the coach explains that Brian Cowell will start in the game and will be assigned to mark and guard Jordan Williams throughout the match, and when DJ attacks and goes on offense, Eric will likely mark and guard him. The coach also reminds the team that they have the offensive power and strength to control the game and the tempo, so they should make Sean Mosley follow them around and play at their pace. Lastly, the coach tells Young Jae that in the Maryland game coming up, he will have what is called a free roll on the court. However, Young Jae looks confused and asks the coach about what exactly a free roll means and how it works, so the coach tells him not to overthink it too much and just understand the team's composition and play accordingly based on what he sees. The coach says that Young Jae has worked hard for the team's play and strategy, and he has done well so far in all the games they have played, and he also mentions that Gary Williams, despite receiving much criticism from people, is recognized and known for his tactical ability and coaching skills. So, the coach explains that if he gives Young Jae a specific role to play, Gary Williams will use his star player Greaves to counter it and shut it down, and Young Jae's main role in this game is to create significant confusion in Gary Williams' use of Greaves throughout the match. Back in the present time during the actual game, Brian from the Aztec team wins the jump ball at the start because of his ideal height and bulked-up physique that gives him an advantage over the opponent. DJ then quickly picks up the loose ball after it bounces away from the jump and he starts sprinting towards the opponent's goal as fast as he can move. Just like the coach said and warned them about before the game, Eric Hayes is already blocking his path and ready to defend. DJ's role in this play is to keep Greaves away from Young Jae, but he starts wondering to himself how he can draw Greaves into his defensive area. DJ then reaches out his hand and pretends like he is going to pass the ball to a teammate, but he just fakes the pass and breaks through the defense, but then another player appears in front of him to stop his advance. Leonard quickly does a screen move that lets DJ break through from that spot as well and get past the defense. The ball then gets passed and travels to Young Jae, who then shoots a long floater shot towards the basket, but the ball does not go inside the hoop and instead it bounces off and gets to Brian Cowell, who catches it and throws the ball inside the basket to score. After that, everyone starts cheering for Young Jae, calling him a MVP again and his iconic number Y13. The opponent team's coach sits on the sideline and wonders to himself that it does not matter how top-tier the Aztecs' defense is supposed to be, because they cannot help but be moved around by the passes, so he questions why his own team is not scoring any points. Young Jae is dribbling in towards the basket again with the ball, but the opponent team's player is firm and determined that he will not let Young Jae go through anymore no matter what. Young Jae then quickly shoots a three-pointer shot from beyond the arc that goes straight inside the basket and scores. Seeing that amazing shot, everyone in the crowd starts cheering loudly for Young Jae by calling out his nickname, which is Y13. Greaves has only taken 2 shots so far in this game and none of them went in and scored, but Maryland still boasts the best offense in the conference as the strongest team. After that play, Williams scores a two-pointer shot for Maryland, and the game is getting close again with the score now sitting at 11 points to 8 points. It turns out that Young Jae has recorded 5 points and 1 assist so far in his stats, while Greaves has 2 assists but no points at all yet. Maryland's coach then calls a 20-second timeout due to the unexpected game progress and the way things are going, and the coach wants to discuss another strategy and game plan with his team. The kid sitting in the audience thinks to himself that Young Jae is really terrifying and impressive as a player, but then he suddenly notices something weird on the court during the game. Whenever Young Jae breaks through the defense or shoots the ball towards the basket, there is a foul called against Team Maryland by the referees. Everyone in the stadium has noticed that Maryland's defense has become very rough since the timeout was called by their coach. Young Jae then turns to DJ and another teammate on the court, and he tells them that there is no easier way to score points than free throws. He explains to them that free throws have the highest percentage of success compared to other shots, and they are also the least risky option for preventing a counterattack from the opponent team. Young Jae then gets the ball passed to him, and all the girls in the crowd start cheering loudly for him and showing their support. Seeing all that attention going to Young Jae, Greaves gets mad and he decides that he wants to go on a one-on-one isolation play against Young Jae to prove himself. Greaves then commits a hard foul on Young Jae that causes him to lose his balance and fall down hard on the ground. Afterward, everyone in the stadium gets shocked and they start cheering for Young Jae and his performance, but Young Jae thinks that making risky plays like that is necessary to keep the momentum going in their favor. Young Jae knows that this is not a comfortable Conference League game at all, and their opponent Maryland is several levels above them in terms of skill and experience. Now at this moment, Greaves is being substituted for the game, even though there are still about 10 minutes left in the first half, and he already has 2 fouls on his record. If Greaves commits 3 more fouls during the rest of the game, he will be disqualified from playing, so it looks like Coach Gary decided to substitute him out early to protect him. Now that Greaves is out, Maryland switches to a simpler attack strategy on the court and they start to persistently dig into the paint area near the basket, but their guards drastically reduce their ball handling and dribbling, and they focus on making solid passes to Jordan Williams instead. The score then gradually increases as the clock counts down, with 30 seconds left in the first half, and the score is sitting at 32 points to 29 points. Young Jae thinks to himself that even though they are leading the game with their teamwork and coordination, and if they look at it individually player by player, their individual abilities fall short compared to Maryland's players. As they move into the second half of the game, this gap will only widen and become more obvious. Young Jae then hopes to himself that even if they have to make risky plays to stay ahead, this next shot of his must go inside the basket and score. However, 2 players from the opposite team then completely block Young Jae's path and surround him from both sides, but Young Jae does not give up or back down, and he breaks through between the 2 defenders with incredible speed and flexibility. After getting past them, Young Jae jumps high towards the basket and throws the ball inside the hoop before anyone can stop him. The first half then ends with the final score being 35 points to 29 points, as San Diego State leads Maryland in the round of 64 in the tournament. The commentator thinks that Young Jae drove straight through by pushing his shoulder past the double team of Eric and Greaves, and then he made an incredible dunk over Landon and dodged Jordan Williams in midair. During the break, the coach tells Young Jae that he should rest at the beginning of the second half to recover his energy. The coach wonders to himself that the first half was so intense that they could not take Young Jae out for the entire 20 minutes of play, so Young Jae needs to rest at least during the beginning of the second half. After that, the team decides to head back onto the court for the second half of the game, but Davis approaches Young Jae before they go out. Davis had been harboring some resentment and negative feelings for losing his starting spot to Young Jae earlier in the season, but as a bench player coming off the bench, Davis achieved a season career high with much better 3-point shooting and field goal percentages compared to his previous 3 years of playing. Davis then asks Young Jae if he remembers what Young Jae said to him during their last game back in 2009, so Young Jae responds by saying that whether they succeed or fail in the end, he wanted to give it his all and leave everything on the court. Both of them then shake their hands with positive energy and says that they should go to the end together. The match then continues with Greaves doing a one-hand dunk again. Greaves' dribbling and precise shooting are too much for the freshman Aztecs players to handle. Everyone watching the game thinks that the Aztecs' second team's movements are completely stiff and awkward, as they are collapsing under the difference in experience and skill compared to Maryland. The match continues with Greaves taking over the game again for Maryland, and the score is now 40 points to 38 points, getting much closer. Seeing that, Young Jae starts cheering loudly for Davis from the sideline, so that he can perform better and help the team. Davis then takes another long-distance three-pointer shot from beyond the arc, and with that successful shot, the lead stretches back to 5 points in favor of the Aztecs. Coach Steve Fisher is putting everything he has into these last 13 minutes of the game with this lineup, and even though Coach Fisher usually distributes playtime evenly among all his players, today he is giving the starting players some extended minutes to keep them in the game longer. Just like in the first half, the opposing coach looks shocked by how the match is going. All of his players appear extremely tired, including Greaves, who glares at Young Jae with deep anger and resentment. Ji brings the ball forward and delivers a beautiful behind-the-back pass to Young Jae. Young Jae catches the ball, but two opposing players immediately block him, including Greaves. Unlike before, Young Jae does not force a breakthrough through them. Instead, he calmly passes the ball to Leonard. Leonard secures the ball and immediately attempts a shot at the basket. Even with a defender in front of him, he jumps backward to create space and releases the ball. The shot goes in perfectly through the net. Seeing this, the opposing players feel frustrated. They realize that defeating San Diego is far from easy. It is not only Young Jae who is outstanding on the court, other key players are also performing at a high level. The opposing coach begins to panic. His plan to easily defeat San Diego is clearly failing. He never expects that Young Jae, a new player, can hold back their strongest player Greaves, making the flow of the game impossible to predict. The opposing team passes the ball to Greaves, who is closely guarded by Young Jae. Greaves secures the ball and immediately dribbles forward at full speed. Young Jae does not hesitate and chases after him. As they approach the basket, Greaves jumps to score, and Young Jae jumps as well to block him. While in the air, Greaves shouts that this time he will win. Young Jae manages to get his hands on the ball. The two clash midair, pushing against each other. The opposing coach begins to sweat heavily as he watches the duel and mutters to himself, wondering if the stories about Young Jae are truly real. In the end, Young Jae overpowers Greaves and knocks the ball out of bounds. Greaves crashes to the floor and drops to his knees after the clash. He is filled with rage. He cannot accept being stopped like this, especially by an Asian player. The game enters its final moments. Young Jae takes another shot and successfully adds more points for his team. The loud cheers from the crowd only deepen Greaves' resentment. With only 1 minute left, the score shows 67-55, with San Diego still firmly in the lead. The crowd begins to celebrate, shouting that San Diego is the champion. However, Coach Steve remains cautious. Even with a 12-point lead, the game is not over yet. With so little time left, anything can still happen. He believes he can only celebrate once the final whistle blows. With very little time remaining, the opposing team puts all their trust in Greaves and focuses on feeding him the ball. Greaves dribbles forward, with Young Jae guarding him closely. The hatred in Greaves' eyes is still not gone and stares at Young Jae and threatens to give him a terrible nightmare. Suddenly, Greaves charges forward and slams his head into Young Jae's face, and Young Jae cannot avoid it and immediately collapses to the floor. After the match ends, San Diego wins the game and Young Jae gets taken to the hospital for treatment on his nose. Coach Steve comes to visit him and delivers painful news that Young Jae does not want to hear. Steve places his hand on Young Jae's shoulder and tells him that he will not let Young Jae play in the next match. His reason is simple: he does not want to risk Young Jae's future career. It is better for Young Jae to focus on recovery first before playing again. Hearing that, Young Jae feels deeply shaken inside and memories of his previous life return to his mind, when an injury ends his basketball career forever back then. Weeks later, Young Jae's nose injury slowly improves and he visits Yun's shop to pick up his shoes. His yellow shoes are repaired beautifully and are now a cool black color instead. Yun replaces the material with something stronger to better support his ankles during games. Young Jae tries on the shoes and praises Yun's work, saying it is truly amazing and worthy of being sold professionally in stores. However, seeing how perfect the shoes are, Young Jae feels slightly worried about the cost. He assumes the price must be very expensive for this quality work. Fortunately, Yun is kind-hearted and does not charge much. Yun is trying to hint that she likes him romantically, but Young Jae never has a relationship before, so he does not understand her meaning at all. Young Jae agrees to give her his autograph and says that Yun feels like an older sister to him. Hearing this, Yun becomes slightly annoyed, wondering why she has to be seen as a big sister instead of a potential girlfriend. 1.5 months later, Young Jae's nose injury fully heals completely. He begins training in a different way than usual on the court. He practices on uneven ground, where the ball bounces unpredictably in different directions. This kind of training requires extreme fingertip control and forces his lower body to react quickly to changes. Young Jae trains like this because he hears that professional basketball training is extremely harsh and demanding. Even though he does not know the exact methods they use, He believes he must train differently from ordinary players. That is why he continues running back and forth on uneven ground, hoping for a change in his game performance. The next day, young Jae rejoins the team for practice with everyone. Ji brings good news to share with the group. He receives several offers from Unicaja Malaga and other major Spanish teams overseas. After discussing it with contacts in Spain, Ji decides to accept the best offer from Unicaja Malaga, a top-level league team there. An NBA agent is a professional who represents basketball players in business matters. They negotiate contracts, manage careers, and handle legal and financial matters, helping players get the best opportunities and financial security possible. Ji jokingly invites young Jae to go with him to Spain and meet beautiful Spanish girls there. Young Jae does not care much about that, but Thomas becomes extremely excited and says he wants to go to Spain too to find his soulmate finally. Hearing Ji's next destination, the quiet Leonard speaks up about his own plans. He says he plans to stay one more year at the University of San Diego to improve his skills further. He does not feel confident enough to enter the NBA yet because his body size is still smaller than other forwards in the league. He needs to strengthen his body first before going pro. Leonard says he will spend 1 year turning his weaknesses into strengths and perfecting his shooting and dribbling skills. Young Jae looks at him, knowing Leonard will keep his promise, just like in his previous life. Back then Leonard works hard, improves greatly in his second year, and gets selected for a major tournament that secures his future career. Thomas also shares his plans with the group. He receives several offers, mostly from Asia, with the most attractive ones coming from China and Korea leagues. He complains a little, saying he never expects much from the NBA anyway. From the beginning he plans to quit basketball and work in the technology industry using his computer skills instead. Suddenly Thomas becomes energetic again and shares that he recently meets his ex-girlfriend Lucy again. He feels motivated to give his all to basketball once more to prove to Lucy that he has a bright future ahead. Hearing this story, young Jae teases Thomas and asks if Lucy knows that he plans to flirt with Spanish women overseas. Laughing in a guilty way, Thomas begs young Jae not to tell Lucy about that, saying they might both be killed if she finds out the truth. Quell also shares his plan for the future. He decides to stay on campus for another year and train together with Leonard. After that he plans to apply for the NBA draft. Quell believes that with harder effort, he can become even stronger as a player. Pointing at young Jae, Leonard says that even if they cannot move forward together, he will always support young Jae wherever he goes. Slightly embarrassed, young Jae replies that he will do the same for all of them. He promises to support all of them, even if they one day become opponents on different teams. In his office, Coach Steve is deep in thought when his phone suddenly rings. The number is unfamiliar to him. He answers with slight irritation, but his expression quickly changes when the caller introduces himself as Bill Duffy, a famous agent who represents several NBA superstars. Bill Duffy is one of the highest-earning NBA agents in the business. Young Jae visits Yun at her shop and shares the good news with her. Yun feels shocked and overjoyed by what she hears. Young Jae tells her that his coach receives a call from Bill Duffy and gets asked to arrange a meeting soon. Now young Jae stands inside Bill Duffy's office, feeling extremely nervous about this meeting. In his previous life, he dealt with NBA agents before, but this is the first time he meets someone standing near the top of the NBA world. Gathering his courage, young Jae knocks on the door, and when Bill Duffy greets him, young Jae becomes nervous again, struggling to control himself and stay calm. Bill Duffy does not like people who judge players only by skill and nothing else. He does not want a relationship that is purely business with no personal connection. Because he is a former basketball player himself, he tries to give both professional and personal support to every player he works with throughout their careers. Hearing Bill Duffy's heartfelt words, young Jae smiles and thinks to himself about the difference. In his previous life, other agents often made verbal agreements over phone calls without meeting in person. Even when players succeed, they only receive a simple congratulations message. Bill Duffy is different from those agents. He wants to meet the player in person and give full support to help them grow as athletes and people. Young Jae feels that Duffy is a good person to work with for his career. He also understands that business is still business at the end of the day. He knows he must stay careful so that no one gets taken advantage of in the deal. Young Jae introduces his background and abilities to the agent and says that whether NBA teams see him as an attractive prospect or not is something he cannot guarantee right now. However, he assures Bill Duffy that after playing against the Mariner team, one of the national collegiate champions, he believes he is capable of surviving in the NBA league. Hearing this, Bill Duffy looks at young Jae sharply and thinks to himself that this kid is truly interesting. Bill Duffy then hands over a detailed report he prepares after closely observing young Jae's recent matches this season. Youngjae and Coach Steve both feel shocked by what they see. The report includes Youngjae's playing style, injury history, strengths, weaknesses, and even his mental condition on and off the court. This shows that Bill Duffy is serious and careful when choosing players to represent in the business. Bill Duffy explains that if Youngjae consistently stays between draft positions 30 and 40, teams in that range that need a shooting guard like him will likely invite him to team workout soon. Youngjae thinks quietly about this information. Training invitations are a chance to prove themselves to teams, but they also come with risks involved. Injuries can happen during workouts, and if his performance gets judged poorly, his evaluation may drop even further down the rankings, and Youngjae decides to give everything he has to stand out and be selected by a good team. Bill Duffy hands Youngjae his business card and tells him to contact him anytime if he needs help with anything. If Youngjae decides to sign an official contract, Bill Duffy asks him to call immediately so they can move forward. After Bill Duffy leaves the office, Coach Steve asks why Youngjae does not sign right away with someone as reputable as Bill Duffy, who also seems like a very good agent to work with. Youngjae answers honestly about his reasoning. He says he is simply being careful with such an important decision. This is a business where everyone seeks profit, and he does not want a rushed decision to cause hidden losses later in his career. A few days later, Youngjae meets Bill Duffy again at his office, and Youngjae finally decides to sign the contract and work with Bill Duffy as his agent. Bill Duffy promises to give his full support to help Youngjae succeed. In general, NBA agents take up to 5% of a player's salary, with a 4-year contract period for rookies entering the league. After 4 years, the contract gets reviewed to decide whether it will continue or change, and Bill Duffy then brings out several documents from his desk. They are requests from different teams that want Youngjae to join their training sessions before the draft. Bill Duffy summarizes each team's situation, future prospects, strengths, and weaknesses clearly. With this data, Youngjae can wisely choose which team to attend first and increase his chances of being recruited to play. Youngjae feels deeply grateful for the preparation. Even though they just signed the contract today, Bill Duffy already prepares everything for him in advance. Youngjae admits that in his current situation, he cannot be too selective since he is still an NBA rookie without leverage. He wants to take a small gamble with his future. He decides that he will only attend training with the team he dreams of for a long time. Before Youngjae can even say the team's name out loud, Bill Duffy picks up several files and guesses that Youngjae wants to go to 4 specific teams. Youngjae feels shocked because the prediction matches his thoughts exactly without him saying anything. Bill Duffy explains that he can guess because of Youngjae's competitive personality that shows through. Youngjae values competition more than money or comfort. Those 4 teams are known for being extremely competitive, where even a small mistake can cost a player their position on the roster. Bill Duffy feels confident that Youngjae will choose these teams because of his strong fighting spirit and desire to prove himself. Before leaving, Bill Duffy encourages Youngjae to maintain his current performance level and, if possible, push it even higher to improve his chances of getting drafted. The next day at the headquarters of the Dallas Mavericks, the team owner Mark Cuban reviews the files of several new players who will train with the team in the coming days. If a player looks promising during training, Mark Cuban plans to recruit him immediately to join the team. Besides him, the general manager Donnie Nelson carefully examines the player profiles to help make decisions. Looking at Youngjae's data, it reveals that he has stable dribbling ability, shooting guard skills with good court observation, and consistent shooting accuracy. He is also able to shoot from various positions on the court, has high basketball IQ, and very good tactical understanding. Besides that, Youngjae also shows extraordinary leadership, strong mental strength, solid defense, agility, and speed. However, there are some weaknesses like ordinary physical strength and body size that does not stand out much. Despite this, they still consider Youngjae because of his rapid development rate since high school and his significant performance in the National Athletic Association, which shows that his potential can still develop further. Besides Youngjae, there are 2 other players, Anderson and Jones, who are also being considered for recruitment to join the Mavericks team. From the player data assessment, there is confusion in determining who is the best, so many opinions emerge among the staff. Mark Cuban thinks that Jones is superior to Youngjae and Anderson if you see his game directly on the court. Jones is a fast and athletic player who often breaks through opponent defenses and scores points. However, Donnie Nelson has a different view. According to him, Youngjae is the best player of the 3 with complete package abilities. Considering their team situation, Donnie believes it is better to bet on a rookie who already feels ready like Youngjae rather than raw talent that still requires a lot of polishing and development. A long debate happens between them about who to choose. Mark Cuban really wants to recruit Jones because he wants to see his beautiful game on the court with his athleticism. Meanwhile, Donnie is more careful and prioritizes stability compared to taking risks with raw talent. Several days later, Young Jae and Bill Duffy are seen inside an airplane traveling. Bill Duffy looks very enthusiastic when looking at Young Jae's data and keeps staring at his laptop screen. In the past few days, the two of them have visited 3 other teams that Young Jae is interested in for joint training, and the results are quite satisfying so far. And now they only need to visit the Mavericks team for the last training session. The 3 previous teams they visit are the Memphis, Oklahoma City, and Portland teams. In all 3 teams, Young Jae plays well and gets attention from coaches. He gets playing time of more than 20 minutes per game from each team, showing that Young Jae's performance is quite satisfying to them. However, if Young Jae cannot outperform the existing players, then it might be difficult for him even to get on the roster list. Not long after, they finally arrive at the Mavericks team training facility. Young Jae feels quite nervous and tells Bill Duffy that this is their last visit to teams. Upon Young Jae and Bill Duffy's arrival at the Mavericks training facility, they are immediately greeted by one of the Mavericks team coaches named Rick Carlisle. Seeing him, Young Jae mutters that in the next few years, Coach Carlisle will be considered one of the best coaches in the basketball league. Although Carlisle's team is currently weaker compared to other teams, he consistently brings his team to the playoffs thanks to his defensive tactics and his ability to utilize player strengths effectively. Young Jae immediately shakes Carlisle's hand and says thank you for taking the time to pick him up directly at the facility. Carlisle gives advice to Young Jae not to be nervous in the evaluation process later and to perform as usual. He emphasizes that this is a valuable opportunity that should not be missed by Young Jae at all. While walking towards the court, Carlisle tells Young Jae that there are some differences of opinion regarding him among the staff. Some people doubt whether he will qualify to play with the Mavericks team. Carlisle asks Young Jae to take this opportunity seriously to prove whether he is worthy of joining them or not. Hearing that, Young Jae answers that he will definitely do his best and different from the 3 previous teams. This time Young Jae is asked to train alone first and show his individual abilities on the court. On the sidelines, Mark Cuban and Donnie Nelson watch him and will conduct an evaluation. Young Jae, who knows both of these people as the Mavericks team owner and general manager, mutters that they might deliberately not introduce themselves so as not to make him nervous during training. Young Jae then starts wearing his equipment and getting ready. Although he feels a little nervous, on one side he is also very enthusiastic. He says that throughout his life, even in his previous life, he has never received attention and treatment like this before. Young Jae becomes more enthusiastic and determined to give his best performance. Mark Cuban stares at Young Jae with doubt, wondering whether Young Jae will be better than Jones and Anderson, who already trained earlier. Donnie also watches Young Jae closely and really wants to see his performance because he prefers Young Jae compared to the other 2 players. Young Jae enters the court with confidence wearing his number 13 uniform. He is asked to do shooting drills for 20 minutes to assess his physical condition and skills. A few moments later, Mark Cuban's face looks very shocked. He does not expect Young Jae's performance to be very impressive, even though previously he really wanted Jones instead. Young Jae runs back and forth and does shooting from various positions, scoring 18 shots that all go in perfectly without missing. Donnie focuses so intensely that it is difficult to shift his attention from Young Jae, feeling that his performance is truly extraordinary. Mark Cuban is so busy watching Young Jae that he only realizes that 20 minutes have passed after being reminded by Coach Carlisle. Seeing Young Jae, Cuban cannot accept the fact that an Asian kid is better than Jones, and he admits that Young Jae's shooting accuracy is incredible even without any defense on him. The yellow-haired guy then turns to him and asks what they should do about this situation, but the guy responds by saying that while Young Jae's shooting ability is certainly exceptional and stands out, in terms of physical abilities and athleticism, Jones seems superior and stronger. Young Jae then breaks through the defense again and easily cuts between 2 defenders like they are not even there. Seeing that impressive move happen, the yellow-haired guy asks Cuban to stop this scrimmage because their players are getting demoralized and losing confidence, and even Cuban admits out loud that Young Jae is on a completely different level compared to the other players. It turns out that the Mavericks are aiming for the championship title this season, and this means there will be many changes within the team roster, and the competition for spots will be fierce and intense. Later that day, Cuban and the yellow-haired guy have a meeting with Young Jae and another person in the office. The yellow-haired guy says to Young Jae that they will ensure Young Jae gets as much playing time as their 5th guard position at a minimum, and increasing that playing time beyond the minimum will depend entirely on Young Jae's performance on the court. Secondly, the guy explains that they have a systematic training system in place that will further enhance Young Jae's skills and abilities as a player. The guy says that the Mavericks have the best facilities and trainers in the league, so they believe they can offer the best conditions for Young Jae's growth and development as a professional player. Lastly, the guy says that he would like to watch many games with his own eyes throughout the season, so he trusts his own judgment when it comes to evaluating players. Finally, it is draft day, and players over 19 years old who are playing in overseas leagues like Europe, along with countless other players, are all participating in draft day hoping to get selected. Whether they are among the chosen 60 players or not makes all the difference, and if they are not selected by any team, they face the hard reality of signing as an undrafted free agent player. Young Jae is also sitting in the hall of the draft selection day with all the other prospects, but he is feeling quite nervous and anxious about what will happen. The draft selection then continues, but Young Jae is surprised to see that the past has completely changed. He thinks that he used to watch the NBA draft meticulously in his past to get to a slightly better team, to go to a team he wanted to join, but now things have to change. Lastly, the announcer says that the Memphis team will select the player that Dallas wants them to pick, and currently one of the options for the Dallas Mavericks is Young Jae as a potential draft pick. Additionally, the announcer mentions that Young Jae was selected for the All-America second team, which means he is one of the top 11 players in the entire 2010 NCAA season. Finally, the announcer reveals that in the 25th NBA draft pick, Young Jae is the player who gets selected, and this surprises everyone in the room, but Young Jae just calmly wears his team cap on his head. Young Jae thinks to himself that before his injury happened, he used to blame bad luck and unfortunate circumstances on various things in his life, but after the injury occurred, he fought desperately and worked hard to come back to basketball, but he eventually collapsed under the weight of reality. Young Jae believes that even that past version of himself was a part of who he was as a person, and he wanted to hide that weak version from everyone, but he did not want to hide his true nature and character anymore. Young Jae wants to play so well that he makes other players and teams tremble when they hear the name Y13 mentioned. However, without Young Jae on the team, the Aztecs sank instead of rising again to success, and once they were considered a dark horse team in the league, the Aztecs and Coach Fisher had to settle for just a Sweet 16 finish this season. Young Jae becomes the second Korean player to enter the NBA, and he constantly performed well in the NCAA throughout his college career and finally joined the Dallas Mavericks organization. Notably, Young Jae had an outstanding performance against the powerhouse Maryland team in the nationwide tournament known as March Madness, earning Player of the Match honors before a nasal fracture injury forced him to end his season early. Young Jae gathered attention from scouts and teams as an attractive card and a player with a complete skill set, and he received offers from multiple teams who wanted to draft him. Young Jae also plans to participate in the Summer League games in Las Vegas in July, and he is determined to be so dominant that opponents dread and fear facing Y13 on the court. Young Jae wakes up in the morning feeling dizzy and lightheaded because he drank too much alcohol with the Aztecs members yesterday at their celebration, and now he feels awful and regrets it. Just then, David calls Young Jae on the phone and says that his parents promised they would take him to watch his games in Dallas whenever they can make the trip. After that conversation, 22 teams including the Mavericks set up their Summer League camps and gathered in Las Vegas for the competition. The Summer League is similar to spring training in Major League Baseball, and Young Jae notices that there are many more coaches and trainers preparing and working here compared to what he saw in the NCAA. On the first day of Summer League, Young Jae meets the Mavericks coaching staff members, and he realizes that from here on out, it is going to be a race of competition for spots on the roster. Young Jae thinks to himself that there are two assistant coaches working alongside the strategic head coach Rick Carlisle, and these two assistants have the potential to become head coaches for the Portland Trail Blazers and the Toronto Raptors teams in the future. He also thinks that the first drill will be a 1-to-1 exercise and guards will pair up, but the goal for the offense being to break through and score, while the defense aims to stop them. The guards that Young Jae will be competing against for roster spots are Rodrigue Beaubois and J.R. Giddens, Josh Mayo, and Jeremy Lin. Young Jae thinks to himself that Jeremy will shock all 30 NBA teams with his performance in the Summer League, showing equal skill and talent to John Wall, who was the top draft pick. After that, Beaubois steps forward to practice and Young Jae does not seem to recognize him from anywhere. Earlier, Young Jae's manager told him that Beaubois mainly uses his incredible acceleration speed for penetration drives, and he also has top-tier shooting ability, recording 50% field goal percentage, 40% three-point percentage and 80% free throw percentage, and Beaubois is the type of player who believes strongly in his own abilities. Back in the present, Young Jae tries his best to compete with Beaubois and defend him, but Beaubois just tries to break past him using his speed, but Young Jae manages to steal the ball away from him successfully. Beaubois then tries to break through again, but this time Young Jae couldn't block him, so he ends up falling on the ground. However, Beaubois then receives an offensive foul, but he thinks that a camp that seemed like it would be boring just got even more interesting. Beaubois is ranked as the #1 most anticipated young non-American player of the entire season by scouts and analysts. Yet, this super rookie who only attended college for 1 year before entering the draft has brought Beaubois to his knees with his performance, and that rookie is none other than Y13, who is Young Jae. Just moments ago, Beaubois played defense like a seasoned veteran who has seen it all in the NBA over many years, and if that defensive play was intentional and calculated, then Young Jae is not at the level to be competing at this camp with these players. Beaubois wonders to himself that he cannot even read or predict Young Jae's movements at all no matter how hard he tries, but then Young Jae uses his incredible reverse spin move to move around Beaubois smoothly, leaving him down on his knees behind him. They continue practicing, and even this time Young Jae decides to go straight for a speed battle against Beaubois, but Beaubois notices that Young Jae is looking at the basket in the middle of his dribbling motion. Young Jae then increases his speed and quickly moves past him and tires to throw the ball in the basket, but Beaubois reminds him that he is on defense. Seeing that, a guy asks Coach Stotts what he thinks of those two, so the coach says that Beaubois has exceptional athletic ability, like his shooting and dribbling are already at a high level. So, if he improves his defense and reduces inconsistencies, he could be a starter. He then tells about Young Jae, saying with his current skill set, he can already hold his own in the NBA, and facing someone like Beaubois, he is curious how he would play against starting-level players. At the very least, Young Jae is proving that he can compete with NBA players who rely on superior physical attributes and abilities, and that alone will significantly boost Young Jae's evaluation and reputation among the coaches. But what is fascinating and impressive to everyone watching is that Young Jae plays with the experience of someone who has been in the NBA for years already, and this observation gives them goosebumps when they see it. Moreover, the coach says out loud that Young Jae has excellent decision-making skills on the court, and with his agility, flexibility, and creativity, he has compensated for his lack of power and strength. Lastly, the coach believes strongly that Young Jae and Beaubois see each other as rivals and competitors, and both of them are just pushing each other harder and harder without letting go or backing down. Later that night, after official practice ends, Young Jae continues practicing basketball with Beaubois in the gym, and he manages to throw the ball in the basket successfully for like the 400th time tonight. That night at a fancy restaurant, Young Jae and Beaubois eat like some maniacs who have not eaten for ages and are starving. Beaubois tells Young Jae that he was scouted as a professional soccer player by an English club when he was younger. The story then goes into a flashback of the English Second Division Club tournament semi-final where Beaubois dribbles all alone down the field, and no one could stop him from advancing. The game continues with Beaubois passing the ball to his teammates, who then again pass it back to him, but then he shoots a hat-trick goal that goes flying inside the net. Back in the present time at the restaurant, Beaubois tells Young Jae that he had to do everything he could with his body, like being a cleanup hitter, starting pitcher, running the 100-meter dash and doing the long jump, and it's all because he has 3 wives and 12 children back home in Africa that he needs to support. Young Jae then asks him how he got into basketball and make it this far, so Beaubois says that his favorite was always basketball, and one day, while playing, Cuban approached him and asked if he would like to play basketball. So Young Jae accepted Cuban's offer to join the Mavericks because Cuban offered a lot of money to him. Beaubois then asks Young Jae why he started playing basketball in the first place, so Young Jae tells him that he was drifting around aimlessly, messing up here and there in his life, but then he finally got himself together and got back into playing basketball seriously. In Young Jae's past life before everything changed, he spent his last few months indulging in pleasures and living recklessly, and it was not until he was close to death that he finally came to his senses. After returning back in time, Young Jae decided to fully dedicate himself to basketball again and commit to it completely, and it has been 2 years now since he made that decision. Young Jae then asks Beaubois if he has enjoyed playing basketball so far in his career, so Beaubois responds by saying that he loved playing the game, but the problem is that basketball is not always just fun and games all the time. The next day when Young Jae wakes up, his muscles start hurting badly, and he did not even realize that pushing himself out of competitiveness would leave his body wrecked and sore like this. Young Jae decides to go back to the gym to talk to the coach about his concerns and physical condition. Young Jae tells the coach that there are countless examples of NCAA stars failing in the NBA due to physical limitations and weaknesses, but he cannot guarantee that he will not become one of those failed players himself. Young Jae says that after the intense training session with Beaubois yesterday, he felt and realized that building the strength and endurance that he desires is not something that can be achieved in a short period of time. Young Jae thinks to himself that his mentor, Coach Fisher, believed in him and his abilities, but no matter what position he plays, he feels that his physicality is currently insufficient and not good enough for the NBA level. However, the coach says that the technical training will not decrease at all in intensity, and the training load will be intense and demanding, going through Summer League and continuing all the way up until the season opener game. Young Jae agrees to go through that kind of training program because he does not have any other options available to him. Young Jae is actually surprised by this approach, and if he had a bit more strength here and there, he thought his shortcomings were due to a lack of ability and talent, but the coach approached Young Jae's problem with a complete shift in thinking and perspective. The most important thing that Young Jae needs right now is not just raw strength, but the ability to harness all his energy at once and use it effectively. Summer League games do not hold much significance or importance in terms of standings and rankings, but they are crucial and important for players to showcase their skills and abilities in front of a large audience and the media who are watching. However, only a few players in the Summer League have secured guaranteed contracts through the draft process, and for the Dallas team, only Bobois and Young Jae have guaranteed contracts with the team, while the rest of the players on the roster are invitees. These invitees do not have official team affiliations or contracts yet, and they sign Summer League contracts just for the duration of the league and games. Since it is the Summer League and not the regular season, defense tends to be lax and loose, and individual plays are more common than team plays. Since the teams are newly assembled and put together, creative passes are rare and hard to execute, and only simple pattern plays are feasible and realistic to run during games. Nevertheless, since the Summer League features high-caliber players with real talent, high-level play and competition is definitely to be expected during the games. Young Jae says to his teammates that he has heard rumors going around that John Wall is already a shoo-in for the Summer League MVP award, with all the buzz and hype around him from fans and media. Young Jae thinks to himself that John Wall does have some weaknesses in his game, such as his broad court vision, the ability to deceive defenders with his movements, and the skill to deliver quality passes to teammates when they are open. Finally, the match between the Washington Wizards and the Dallas Mavericks, two teams that are currently on the rise and gaining momentum, is happening today at the arena. The main reason for the highest interest and excitement in today's game is the presence of the 2010 draft's #1 overall pick named John Wall, who is starting for the Wizards team in this matchup. The game then begins with JaVale McGee winning the jump ball against Jada at center court to start the match and give Washington first possession. JaVale then runs past the defender with his dribbling techniques and ball handling skills, but Young Jae suddenly appears in front of him, thinking to himself that he is reading the flow of the court perfectly and predicting the plays. Young Jae then suddenly turns his body towards another player on the opposite team, and the player accidentally hits Young Jae hard, wondering why Young Jae would turn towards him like that out of nowhere. It turns out that when someone moves during a screen play, if there is contact with the opponent player, a moving screen foul is likely to be called by the referees. The match then continues with Young Jae finds a perfect chance outside the three-point line, but Young Jae then throws the ball that goes straight inside the basket. Meanwhile, the photographers are taking pictures and capturing photos of the match from their spots on the sidelines. The ball then gets passed to Young Jae, but the other player tries to stop Young Jae from advancing, but Young Jae just charges forward with speed and determination, and then he quickly throws the ball straight inside the basket for a score. Seeing that, everyone in the arena starts cheering loudly for Young Jae, and the commentators mention that he is incredibly fast and athletic. Young Jae then provokes the opponent team's player with some trash talk, and he wonders to himself if the player will take the bait and get emotional. Just as Young Jae predicted in his mind, John Wall does not fall for the provocation attempt at all, and instead, he calmly assesses the situation on the court and proceeds with the attack in a controlled manner. The commentators then say that even without John Wall carrying the team, Washington has other talented players like Trevor Booker and JaVale McGee, who have both played in the NBA before and have professional experience. So, no matter how tall Musa Sek is to guard the rim, and even if Omar Samhan marks him, the difference in experience is too great, and they persistently use their big men for the attack. John Wall does not just rely on passing and game organization alone to be effective, and Young Jae tries his best not to give John Wall any space or room to prevent him from accelerating and building up speed. The commentator says that the face-off between John Wall and Young Jae is intense and shows no signs of either player backing down, and even though their styles are slightly different from each other. John Wall uses his explosive acceleration for drives to the basket, and his shooting motion for fakes and deception, along with no-look passes or creating passing opportunities to create penetration and persistent attacks using the big men on his team. Even though John Wall is trailing behind Young Jae in overall performance and individual stats, Washington still maintains a slight lead in the score due to their big men's skills and abilities in the paint. Young Jae thinks to himself that this situation reminds him of the practice games he used to play with Leonard back when they were in college together. Young Jae then starts smiling, but then he shoots the ball towards the basket and it goes straight inside. After that, John Wall tries to move forward with the ball, but Young Jae manages to steal the ball away from him and runs forward quickly towards the other end of the court. Trevor Booker is already in defensive position waiting for him, which is expected from a player who is ranked in the NBA's top 10 for defensive skills and ability. Young Jae then quickly dodges Trevor Booker with a slick move, and he throws the ball into the basket by jumping at exactly the right time to score points. Seeing that amazing sequence unfold, everyone in the arena is surprised and shocked, and they cannot believe that there is a player like Young Jae who can follow up that incredible crossover move with a monstrous dunk like that. Finally, the timeout is called by the coach, and everyone in the building cannot believe that Young Jae managed to score 7 points all by himself in that run to take the lead for his team. Young Jae thinks to himself that John Wall is truly an incredible talent and an amazing player, and no wonder he is called the Emperor of Rucker Park by people who know basketball well. So Young Jae realizes that if it were not for his own experience and knowledge from his past life, he definitely could not beat John Wall in this matchup, and it is clear that John Wall is a player that people cannot imagine is just a 20-year-old rookie with so little professional experience. John Wall sits on the bench and thinks to himself that the game is going to be really difficult today, and using Trevor Booker and JaVale McGee for 2-on-2 plays was pretty effective for scoring points. However, when Young Jae was on the court playing, all of his shots were tough shots taken under pressure, so his field goal percentage was terrible and not very good at all, and what chills down John Wall's spine even more than that is Young Jae's confident smile on his face. Finally, the timeout is over and done with, and the game resumes as usual with both teams going back out on the court, but there is only 1 minute left in the first quarter of the game. Young Jae then approaches a guy on the bench whose name is Jeremy Lin, and he is the unknown Asian guard who later became a sensation in New York, earning the famous nickname Linsanity from fans and media. In his first 5 starts with the Knicks, Jeremy scored more points than the previous record holder for that achievement, which was Shaquille O'Neal. Last night before the game, Young Jae decided to head to the gym late at night because Bobois left his phone in the gym and forgot it there after practice. When Young Jae arrives at the gym, he then hears someone practicing at this late hour of the night, so he decides to check and see who it is, and it turns out to be Jeremy Lin, who is still practicing by himself in the empty gym. Jeremy tried to overcome his struggling performance with hellish practice sessions and hard work, but excessive fatigue leads to overexertion and turnovers during games instead of improvement. Back in the present time, Young Jae tells Jeremy to have confidence in himself because he is beyond the level of the Summer League and has more talent than he realizes, but Jeremy has no idea what Young Jae is even talking about or why he is saying this to him. In Young Jae's past life before everything changed, Jeremy showed overwhelming skill against John Wall in this exact game, and the crowd started cheering loudly for Jeremy and his performance on the court. Finally, Jeremy decides to get on the team as well and play in the game, and this decision surprises everyone who is watching and did not expect him to join. After that play, the match continues, and this time Jeremy laughs confidently in front of John Wall, so John tries to move and defend him, but Jeremy just breaks through the defense with insane speed and quickness. And he quickly throws the ball back in the basket for a score. Seeing that amazing burst of speed, everyone gets surprised and shocked, and they did not expect Jeremy to be this fast at all or capable of that kind of acceleration. Young Jae knows from his past life knowledge that Jeremy Lin in his prime had the second fastest burst speed in the entire NBA league, and there is no one in the Summer League who can stop him when he gets going. Jeremy then once again tries to break through the defense with his speed, but this time more players block his path and surround him, so he decides to pass the ball to his teammate J.R. Giddens, who catches it and throws a three-pointer shot straight towards the basket. The commentators say that despite being evaluated as a player who could fully showcase his skills in the Summer League environment, Jeremy has been struggling and performing poorly ever since he was invited to join Dallas for this Summer League tournament. Jeremy is a player whose main strengths are game organization, passing the ball to teammates, and precise finishing under the basket with layups. Jeremy has the ball again in his hands and shows 4 fingers to his teammates, but everyone watching wonders what the 4-finger signal actually means or represents. Jeremy then throws a three-pointer shot directly into the basket from long range, and this shot shocks everyone in the arena who did not expect it. Young Jae realizes that Jeremy deliberately mimicked and copied the exact same play that Young Jae made earlier in the game, but then Young Jae also steps onto the court to respond. The Wizards team suffers a crushing defeat in the game, and a reporter starts the interview session asking his teammates about their opinions on Young Jae. Rodrigo explains that Young Jae is an extraordinary player, and besides being talented, Young Jae also has a pleasant sense of humor that everyone enjoys. Meanwhile, Jeremy reveals that Young Jae is a damn good kid because the first thing Young Jae says to him is to be more confident in himself. Jeremy emphasizes that Youngji's words really help him to be more confident in today's game, so he can show his true abilities on the court. When the reporter asks about Youngji's opinion regarding John Wall whom he faces today, Youngjae confidently answers that John Wall is the most threatening player of all the opponents he ever faces. He is very difficult to provoke, and several times puts him in difficult situations during the game. Youngjae closes the interview with a fairly extreme statement, declaring that he will never lose to John Wall and whoever his opponent is, he will always return with a victory. News about Youngjae once again spread widely everywhere. He feels very happy and thinks he looks very cool watching and replaying his words at the end that he will not lose. He even says he will make similar statements if he gets another chance in the next month. In the following month, various media outlets start to be flooded with analysis columns, including team evaluations during the Summer League season and predictions for last year's and this year's NBA season. Many teams including the Mavericks have players coming in and out as contracts expire. Besides that, the Mavericks team does not escape media evaluation, especially in Korea. Youngji's crazy performance on the Mavericks team ignites the spirit of basketball fans in Korea. Mavericks management is also holding meetings with NBA agents to discuss salaries and several player trade issues. Cuban, the owner of the Mavericks team, works very hard to increase the team's strength every year, even having to pay additional luxury taxes. Normally the Mavericks team is just a team that utilizes big players who do not have agents. You could say the Mavericks team is just a team that increases its strength using discarded players. Because of this, the player composition changes a lot every year, and this season the focus will also be on how quickly the chemistry between players builds and the team management skills develop. The Mavericks currently exceed the salary cap threshold and luxury tax threshold, making them the team with the third highest salary in the NBA. Unfortunately, they have never won a single championship trophy at all. On the other side, Youngjae is seen training hard on his own. He trains his skills on uneven courts and now also starts playing in areas full of rocks, making his training increasingly challenging. After training for a long time and making many attempts, Youngjae finally succeeds in dribbling the ball past all the rocks and reaching the mountain peak. He feels very satisfied with his achievement. Not long after that, Youngjae receives a phone call from Yun. They exchange news after not meeting for a long time. With a slightly nervous voice, Yun tells him that she will participate in the runway project. Hearing that news, Youngjae feels very happy and gives her congratulations. This project involves several participants who are experts in designing basketball needs, from jerseys to other player equipment. Yun, who experiences various challenges, is now known for her designs that combine function and unique models. She gets many orders because she designs sports clothes that are appropriate and suit user needs. Yun reveals that the theme for the 10th project is to create products with homemade materials. This means each participant must make designs based on their own experiences. Today Yun tells him that she goes to meet her parents and they give her encouragement and design suggestions. They are very proud and support her in this project. Yun reveals to Youngjae that she wants to show him her design results first before anyone else sees them. If this happens, Youngjae might appear at the runway project for some time. Yun feels awkward and starts explaining her reasons for wanting Youngjae to see her design first. She admits that Youngjae gives her the spirit to reach this point and helps her understand more deeply about sports clothing. Her design is inspired by basketball, simplifying design elements from shoes and basketballs. So Yun really wants Youngjae to be the first person to see it. Hearing that, Youngjae immediately shouts full of enthusiasm. He says of course he has time to see Yun's design because he is sure the results will be very good. Youngjae also calls Yun his business partner, who will make him great shoes in the future. Youngjae feels very honored to be the first person who can see Yun's work and looks forward to the results. While eating, Youngjae asks when Rodrigo will return to Africa. Rodrigo says that he will return tomorrow morning. Knowing that, Youngjae wonders again and mutters why he never met Rodrigo in his previous life. After all, a person with strength and toughness like him is not often found in the NBA. Youngjae wonders if perhaps Rodrigo experiences something unexpected that he does not know about before. To anticipate the worst possibility, Youngjae firmly gives advice to Rodrigo to take care of and pay attention to his body well. With a little joking, Rodrigo asks Youngjae not to worry too much about him. He says that his body is already like a precious asset, so even if nothing happens, he will still check it thoroughly to make sure everything is okay, and Rodrigo even adds that with his current strength, he could have 4 wives. Hearing all that, Youngjae smiles with relief, feeling that Rodrigo seems like he will be fine in the near future. Several days later, the latest news appears reporting that Youngjae's former teammate at San Diego, Davis, have joined a team from the First Division of the Spanish League and Olympiacos from the Greek League. Both of them post articles and photos during their welcome ceremonies on Twitter. Youngjae encourages them by saying that if they do not make it into the main team, then they are not really from the San Diego team. Meanwhile, Youngjae goes to visit Coach Steve at the University of San Diego. He says many thanks to his coach for all his help during this time and asks for some advice before leaving. While Youngjae is relaxing, he feels very shocked to hear the news that Rodrigo is suffering from an injury. Rodrigo explains that he suffers an injury to his left foot during soccer training like he usually does. Although he often trains on rocky ground, this time he kicks a large rock which causes his little toe to get injured. After examination, it turns out his injury is more serious than expected, so he has to be absent from playing basketball for quite a long time. Before closing the phone call, Rodrigo asks Youngjae to convey his apology to Mark Cuban because he will not be able to return to the team for a while until his little finger heals completely. With a serious look, Youngjae promises to bring Rodrigo back to the NBA by any means necessary. The next day, Youngjae goes to the Mavericks team training center. He comes to attend his first official practice with other team members. There he is immediately greeted by a number of reporters who have been waiting for him. So many questions are thrown at him, making Youngjae feel a little uncomfortable. However, he chooses not to answer and continues walking towards the training building. Upon arriving inside, Youngjae feels very enthusiastic because this is his first official practice. He deliberately comes 1.5 hours early to train alone first. However, when heading to the court, Youngjae feels shocked to see a player already there and doing shooting drills non-stop. The player seemingly does not notice Youngjae's arrival, so he continues practicing with enjoyment. Youngjae keeps watching and realizes that the player uses his left hand to do the shooting. He starts remembering that player from his past life. He is a player 7 feet tall with extraordinary shooting ability and has striking blonde hair. He is one of the greatest strengths right now with attacks that make opponents feel like they are in hell. He is the only power forward who records 180 successful shots with 3-point shooting reaching 90% accuracy. He has a very large body size and is able to play in several positions on the court and becomes the standard for great players in the NBA. He is also the Mavericks captain named Dirk Nowitzki. Youngjae greets Dirk first, so he immediately stops his practice and approaches Youngjae. The difference in their body sizes is very striking. Youngjae even almost looks like a child compared to Dirk. They introduce themselves and make small talk. Dirk is very friendly, revealing that he always comes earlier than other players. He also praises Youngjae for being so enthusiastic to come early even though he is still new to the team. Youngjae explains that he feels nervous, so he decides to come early so he can warm up before practice starts. Dirk then throws the ball to Youngjae and invites him for a light warm-up because other players have not arrived yet. Without hesitation, Youngjae catches the ball and immediately shows his talent by doing a shot that goes in perfectly. Seeing this, Dirk feels pleased and praises Youngjae's ability. In an instant, Dirk can immediately assess Youngjae's shooting skills. He mutters that the arm and leg movements, from the ankles, knees to the upper body, all look very natural. Dirk then praises Youngjae by saying that Youngjae's shooting ability is faster compared to ordinary players, and that is very suitable for him because he has a smaller body size. Hearing that praise, Youngjae feels very happy and does not expect to get praise from the player nicknamed the King of Shooting. Youngjae answers that he will try his best to continue improving his abilities. Not long after, a new player arrives with a very large body size as well. He stares at Youngjae and expresses his happiness seeing there is a new player like himself on the team. The player then approaches Dirk and introduces himself as Tyson Chandler. Tyson expresses his hope that they can work together well on the court. After that, Tyson also approaches Youngjae and says that he already watches Youngjae's games before. According to Tyson, Youngjae's game is truly extraordinary, and he hopes Youngjae can show his best performance at today's practice like he usually does in his games so far. With a little awkwardness, Youngjae says thank you for the praise and encouragement given by Tyson. Youngjae mutters to himself that until the end of last season, Tyson is still with the New Orleans Hornets team. Tyson's performance was really impressive last season, but his performance declines due to injuries that make many teams question the decision to recruit him because of health problems. Only the Mavericks team sees potential in him and then recruits him. Youngjae knows Tyson as a player with very strong defense and a perfect leader for his team with an unyielding spirit. The two of them then shake hands and Tyson challenges Youngjae to show his best performance. Youngjae responds to that challenge with enthusiasm, stating that he really looks forward to their cooperation on the court. Although they are on the same team, Tyson shows his competitive side by gripping Youngjae's hand very hard. Youngjae feels a little pressured and wonders what Tyson is doing, and he feels this is a form of competition between teammates. Young Jae feels a little excited and says that Tyson does not need to worry because he is just a small player who struggles hard to survive on the team. Hearing that, Tyson also smiles and releases Youngjae's hand and says that he really likes Youngjae's personality. Young Jae thinks that Tyson's grip strength is really very strong as Young Jae praises Tyson's muscle strength, which seems to have been trained well all this time. Not long after, some core players start arriving. Jason Kidd immediately greets Young Jae with the nickname The Genius, then followed by Jason Terry, a true veteran. Lastly, there's JJ Barria, Jason Kidd's backup player who will be Youngjae's tough competitor on the Mavericks team. JJ has to show his best performance this season to get a new contract next year. The Mavericks head coach, Rick Carlisle, also arrives and immediately introduces himself to the new players. He also introduces his two assistants, Key and Terry Stotts, who will help him analyze each player's game throughout this season. Coach Rick gives a short speech. He emphasizes that among the players present today, there are new ones and also those who have been here for a long time. However, he stresses that this is a place for professionals. All players must leave their personal feelings behind and focus on competing to give their best, and players who are considered weakest will be directly removed from the core team. Coach Rick also emphasizes that there will be no special treatment, whether for new or old players. The Mavericks team is formed with the goal of becoming champions, and only each player's abilities will determine whether they deserve to be on the team. In addition, on October 6th, 9 days from now, the Mavericks team will start the preseason. During the preseason, all players will be evaluated to determine who fits well with each other and which strategies will be used in the regular season. Young Jae, with a look full of enthusiasm, mutters that he already knows the Mavericks' first opponent in the preseason game later, which is the Wizards team that he recently faced in the summer. Young Jae can't wait to face John Wall again and promises to bring his team to win all the games. Coach Rick announces their schedule for tomorrow, which is they will attend Media Day. Media Day is an event where players, coaches and team staff meet with the media for interview sessions, photo shoots, and promotional content creation before the competition season starts. And on the last day of Media Day, they will hold an internal game between the players on the team. After explaining everything the players need to know, they finally start the training session. This time they're asked to practice shooting in pairs. According to Coach Rick, in the team's offensive strategy, accurate shooting ability is a very important foundation. In this first practice, each pair of players takes turns coming forward to show their shooting abilities, and assistant coach Key will evaluate their abilities and weaknesses from outside. Not long after, it's finally Youngjae's turn, being the last order to perform today. Without any hesitation, Young Jae starts showing his abilities, but Coach Rick and all the players feel amazed seeing Young Jae's shots that are so calm. Meanwhile, JJ shows his dislike because Young Jae is his strong competitor on the Mavericks team right now. A few moments later, Key, who is in charge of doing the analysis, feels a bit nervous and can't believe it. Out of 20 shots, Young Jae never misses. Meanwhile, Young Jae himself looks very excited on the court and he feels that standing still and aiming at the ring is a very easy thing for him. After doing the shooting practice, Key asks the players to do variation training, where they have to dribble the ball and immediately shoot afterwards. The other players are very enthusiastic, stating that they can't lose to the new player. They intend to show their strength and experience. The first one to go forward is JJ. Quickly, he dribbles the ball forward, showing his skills. After approaching the ring, he jumps and makes a shot that successfully goes in smoothly. The other players then come forward one by one to show their abilities. However, some of their shots don't go into the ring and only bounce on the rim. So far, Key concludes that the practice of dribbling the ball and shooting is indeed difficult for most players. Young Jae, who watches from the side, feels a bit impressed because Key really pays attention to each player and does deep analysis. Young Jae becomes more enthusiastic about showing his abilities. He says that this is the time to make an exciting performance. Key explains that practice like this is very different from a real game. In practice, if a player can make 10 shots out of 10 attempts, but in a real game, usually they can only make 3 out of 10 attempts because of various factors on the court. However, this practice still helps the players, especially in improving calmness and confidence when shooting. Now it's finally Youngjae's turn. He steps onto the court and mutters that the regular season is only 1 month away, and it's time he needs to improve his mental and physical condition. Since the summer league ended, he has practiced his shooting ability countless times, even feeling like someone addicted to shooting. Therefore, he wants to pour all his abilities into this practice and take it seriously as if he's competing in a game. Seeing Youngjae's game, Coach Key and all the players can clearly feel that Young Jae is at a different level. With that kind of speed, Young Jae successfully makes shots from 10 attempts, even from every different angle. All the other players just stay silent, unable to say a word. Ki can't contain his admiration, and he starts to recall the intensive training he gave to Young Jae before the Summer League. Ki feels that training has produced very significant results, as he doesn't even expect that Young Jae can get through that training without complaining at all. All the players gather around Young Jae, praising his amazing abilities. They even say that now they finally understand why Young Jae's name is so scary. Getting so much praise, Young Jae feels a bit awkward but really appreciates every word they say. Meanwhile, Jason Kit stares at Young Jae as he calls Young Jae a rookie who is not bad and really looks forward to what kind of performance Young Jae will show in the game later, because a real game and practice are very different. A few days later, Young Jae meets with Yun. Yun intends to give clothes that she designed herself to Young Jae. With a pounding heart, Yun tells Young Jae that these clothes were made while constantly thinking of him. Hearing this, Young Jae is very happy and feels grateful because Yun has taken time from her busy schedule to make clothes for him. A mysterious man who is in his car happens to see them on the side of the road. He recognizes Yun, who recently appeared on the show Runaway, and Young Jae, who is the star player that many people are talking about. The mysterious man greets them, asking if they are dating because they look very closely. Hearing this, Yun becomes very nervous and can't give any answer, but Young Jae casually says that they have no relationship at all. Young Jae says that the two of them are like siblings and he considers Yun like his own older sister. Hearing Young Jae's words, Yun's heart is very broken and she really wants to try to straighten things out, but Young Jae has already rejected her first. 5 days before the opening of the NBA regular season, the Mavericks team staff is busy managing the lineup of core players who will compete later. Many debates happen among them to determine each player's position and who will be on the bench. Their biggest problem right now lies in the shooting guard and center positions. To maintain team unity and player pride, some think they should start this season with Haywood as a starter. Even though Tyson Chandler's physical condition looks better in the national team games, they feel it's better to start by playing Haywood first. They plan to play Haywood as the main player, but his playing time will be divided equally because Tyson Chandler has stamina issues, so it's difficult to play him for more than 30 minutes. Next, they plan to use Butler as shooting guard and Marion as small forward or a versatile player on the court. They also consider Stevenson or Young Jae as the starting shooting guard while managing their playing time. Meanwhile, Ki strongly urges and proposes that Young Jae play as a core player. He believes that with Young Jae's presence on the court, problems with defense, rebounds, and attack variation options will be solved because Young Jae can play well in all positions. However, some team members reject this proposal, thinking that playing a veteran player with more experience will be better compared to a rookie with still little experience. Ki stays in his position. He says that no matter what, he will bring Young Jae into the core team during the game later. Ki clearly knows Young Jae's abilities and the training he has gone through, so he is the person who understands Young Jae's true abilities the most. Afterwards, Young Jae walks into the court and the crowd starts roaring for him, but the match continues with Young Jae acting as a screen. Beria then shoots a three-pointer shot that goes straight into the basket. The opponent team's player thinks that Young Jae is a tough opponent and he heard some from Vasquez over the phone, but he is still curious about how much a rookie can really do. Young Jae then quickly runs past him, and everyone thinks that he is even faster than he was in the preseason. Young Jae then jumps to throw the ball in the basket, but before he does, two players also jump to stop him, so he passes the ball to Beria, who then throws a three-pointer shot. The Mavericks team now leads by several points from the opposing team, but the opposing team then starts attacking seriously. The team leader carrying the ball say that he can't let the game momentum end like this. He says he has to find a way to keep his players' spirits up. Right now, JJ is guarding him with the burden he carries as team leader. He has to bring out all his abilities. Very quickly, he immediately dashes past JJ, who can't react at all. He keeps dribbling the ball past several players and successfully reaches in front of the ring, then immediately jumps to put the ball in. However, JJ, who was previously left behind, manages to chase him very quickly and immediately jumps to try to block him from putting the ball in. A fierce battle happens in the air, making both teams go silent, making sure who will win the duel. In the duel earlier, it turns out JJ accidentally commits a foul which makes the opposing team get one free throw. With this violation, the opposing player manages to take advantage of this opportunity and adds to their points again. Right now, time is only a few seconds left, and the direction of the game changes again, where right now the opposing team is leading with a score of 21-24. All the spectators cheer and get more heated up because both teams equally show very extraordinary competition. Young Jae then gets the ball and he is immediately blocked by an opposing player, and JJ stands right next to him and is also closely guarded by one of the opposing team members. Not wanting to repeat the same mistake, This time the opposing players focus more on guarding Young Jae and JJ's movements to stop their actions. However, this time the opposing team leader feels something is strange because Young Jae just stays in his position and doesn't try to break through, and sure enough, from that far distance, Young Jae immediately jumps to shoot. Seeing this, he feels very annoyed because once again they were successfully manipulated by Young Jae. However, something unexpected happens again. Thinking it's a direct shot, the opposing players finally don't pay attention to JJ's movement. At that moment, Young Jae cancels his shot and passes to JJ as if he was going to shoot. JJ successfully secures the ball well, and also thanks to Young Jae's diversion, he gets enough space to shoot. Young Jae cheers, shouting Dirk's name as the king of shooting. An opposing player jumps with all his strength to stop Dirk's shot. Right when time is only 1 second left, Dirk immediately releases his shot. When the ball flies high, the opposing player who tries to stop Dirk accidentally commits a violation by crashing into him. Dirk's shot goes in perfectly, and Young Jae is very excited because besides getting points from Dirk's shot, they also get one free throw because of that violation. They successfully execute it well, which makes them all very excited. Initially, they only got 2 points from the shot made by Dirk, but with the violation and free throw, they managed to secure 3 points overall. Young Jae says that the opposing team all focused on him and JJ, so they forgot about the real king of shooting on the court, which is none other than the King Dirk. With this, the first quarter closes with the Mavericks team leading again with a score of 25-24, 1 point different from the opposing team. In this first game, JJ gets MVP thanks to his consecutive 3-point shots, which makes David very annoyed because according to him, it's all thanks to Young Jae, so Young Jae should be the one who gets it. With this result, Mark Cuban and all the Mavericks team staff feel very happy and don't expect that just with Young Jae's inclusion, they can change the Mavericks team's game flow so significantly. Yun, who is in the spectator seats, also looks very happy and her face even becomes red from blushing, seeing her crush's very cool performance on the court. The announcers start questioning whether Young Jae is really a rookie in the NBA. They even feel Young Jae is more like a monster from Asia who gives nightmares to every opponent, but before entering the next round, Coach Carlisle takes over the team and gives advice to Young Jae. He says that Young Jae's game has exceeded his expectations all this time. Coach Carlisle sees that Young Jae can play well in various positions, and he also notes that Young Jae often makes more passes than scoring points himself. Therefore, in this second half, Coach Carlisle asks Young Jae to rely more on his own attacking power and see what changes will happen on the court. Hearing this, Young Jae steps onto the court with confidence. He says that he will do his best, and this is the time for Y13 to attack. A few moments later, everyone is amazed and speechless seeing Young Jae's performance this time. He more often dribbles the ball himself and directly executes it. The announcers even state that this is a historic moment for an Asian player where Young Jae performs very perfectly in the NBA. The game continues with both teams attacking each other alternately, and not a single one of them loosens their vigilance and continues to perform at their best. Right now, the Mavericks team is still leading with a score of 62-57, only a 5-point difference. Time keeps passing quickly and now JJ starts getting tired. He curses, saying he should have trained harder if he knew his stamina would be this pathetic. Meanwhile, Young Jae also starts feeling tired, but his spirit is still clearly visible. In that condition, Young Jae intends to increase the speed of his movement because his team is already very tired. He knows very well that if the game continues like this, it can ruin his team's game rhythm. Suddenly, Young Jae is surprised to see a new fresh player confidently entering the court. It turns out to be Rodrigue Beaubois, who seems to have recovered from his injury. A few days before, Rodrigue was seen participating in an MMA match, and he does this fight to make sure that his leg has really healed from the injury. From behind, his coach encourages Rodrigue with full enthusiasm, cheering for Rodrigue to beat his opponent without mercy. Rodrigue's opponent is big. Even his body can be said to be twice the size of Rodrigue's. It turns out the two of them already know each other. His opponent, let's just call him Bobby, mocks Rodrigue by saying whether his career in basketball has been destroyed, so he's back to fighting. Before Bobby finishes his words, a direct kick lands on his face. Although Rodrigue's body is much smaller compared to Bobby's, the power of his kick is strong, making Bobby push back several steps. After that kick, Rodrigue reveals that his leg is actually fine now. Bobby, who is now filled with annoyance, intends to retaliate. But Rodrigue pulls his leg back, gathering his strength while gripping Bobby's head, then immediately lands his knee right on Bobby's face, who can't react with just 2 attacks. He lies on the floor and faints instantly, making Rodrigue achieve victory very easily. Rodrigue says that all this is very easy and boring for him, so he looks up at the ceiling and reveals that the place where he can fight with real monsters is not here, but in the NBA. With that kind of thinking, Rodrigue finally returns to the NBA and tells everything to Young Jae. Hearing this, Young Jae is a bit scared. He apologizes to Rodrigue if all this time he did anything wrong to him. Rodrigue just smiles, asking Young Jae to act casually because he returns to the NBA to look for monsters. Rodrigue's arrival brings back the spirit of all the Mavericks team players. The opposing team's coach, who watches Rodrigue's arrival, feels panicked and scared. He says that this situation will be very troublesome for his team. Rodrigue then gets the ball and starts dribbling slowly forward. He then makes a quick pass to JJ, who also does the same thing, quickly giving the ball to Young Jae. Without giving any pause at all, Young Jae immediately jumps to shoot. When the ball is above the ring, Rodrigue appears and jumps to put the ball in very spectacularly. Everyone instantly cheers seeing the very cool action from the three of them. The fast and neat passing and spectacular execution make their game very impressive. Coach is very proud and mutters that he doesn't expect the Mavericks team to be this strong already. On the other side, the opposing team's coach becomes more annoyed and frustrated, revealing that this situation can't be allowed to continue. Rodrigue gets the ball again and quickly breaks through the opposing players one by one. The opposing players have a hard time stopping him because besides being fast, Rodrigue's physical strength is also very impressive, far above normal players in general. Seeing Young Jae in an empty position, Rodrigue immediately passes to him. The ball is received well by Young Jae, who then executes it with a three-point shot, and once again, the ball goes in perfectly, making the spectators cheer loudly. Until now, Young Jae has never missed in his shots, so he is nicknamed as the perfect player. With Rodrigue's presence, the points scored by the Mavericks team increase rapidly. The current score shows 88-63, with the Mavericks leading by 25 points. With such a far difference, everyone present considers the result of this game to be clear, that the Mavericks team will win today's game. A few moments later, the whistle blows, marking the end of today's game with a final score of 104-71, a far point difference of 33 points. In this game, Young Jae plays for approximately 22 minutes with an extraordinary performance record. How high can Y13 soar in the NBA? Will his second chance journey lead to a championship? Comment, dunk, and let us know your thoughts on it. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more manhwa recaps.